Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, Dustin Fox, Jason Lloyd, Tyvis Powell, plus, ba-da-da-da-da, you're loving him, Mikey McNuggets. And so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show starts now. Booyah!
Welcome everybody to the latest edition of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, along with two former Buckeye champions, Dustin Fox, Tyvis Powell. I'm Adam the Bull. G. Bush is sick. He'll be back with us tomorrow, hopefully. We've got Mike, we've got Steve, and we've got Anthony behind the glass. A lot to get to today. Obviously, the Guardians with a disappointing Game 1. The latest on the Browns. And I made a statement on my podcast this morning about the Browns that I want to ask you guys about and see if you agree or disagree. But first, I got a couple of pet peeves. Dustin, you and I used to do this all the time.
We did, yeah.
I occasionally do this on the show. Some of these may have been discussed before. But before we dive into a boatload of sports stuff, I got to get to a couple things, first of all. As you know, I've lived here now over 13 years. Mm-hmm. So, and I'm going to live, something weird happens. I'm planning on living the rest of my working life, at the very least.
My working
And I have no desire to ever retire.
So when you retire, where you go at?
You know what?
You a Florida guy?
I was thinking about Florida, but Florida gets hurricanes every 8 seconds now. I don't know if I want to be there.
Same. I've been thinking about that too.
I'll just go there in the winter.
I love Florida. I love the weather.
Yeah,
there.
but it's so.
I don't know that I want to own a house down there.
You don't want to go to Naples?
I've got so many friends down there, and especially the Gulf side now, Southwest Florida. They're getting hammered. I've
destroyed.
got
Naples, that area.
Marco, Tampa.
Yeah, it's a mess.
I mean, all of it.
Sarasota,
Siesta
too much.
Key.
So I'm like, screw that.
There's no place
I'll just go
like
down there
Cleveland.
for the winter.
There's no place like Cleveland. I was in LA this weekend, this past weekend, and I was like, this ain't for me.
Cleveland's awesome, but here's my.
Hold on.
Yeah, go ahead.
Did you feel that way this morning?
What, about Cleveland?
Today, it was the worst weather. 40 degrees and rain and cloudy.
It's gonna.
It's late.
And like a couple of days, it's gonna be about 65, 70.
The problem with Cleveland weather is that really February, March is because it feels like the winter should be ending and it just keeps going.
Yes.
But
I do agree
here's
with
my
that.
biggest beef with Cleveland, and I don't have many because I love it here. There's no traffic. It's beautiful.
There's no great pizza.
But that's true.
Found good pizza.
There's like 5 or 6 solid places. But why can't anybody drive here when it rains?
I want to know the same thing.
Explain this to me?
I want to know the same thing.
It's not just the rain,
sound
though, dude.
like me.
It's any sort of condition that's not ideal.
I
not
don't
perfect.
understand.
Snow, rain.
You grew
sleet.
up in this weather. What happened? Why can't people drive?
People are more cautious. They're more cautious.
We're supposed to be hard, tough Midwesterners. We're not supposed to be cautious.
Just cautious. You see a lot of accidents, and but you know what? Maybe people don't have great tires. If you ain't got great tires, you tend to skid.
That's no excuse.
I'm just trying to. I'm pulling straws here.
Okay.
Well, and the other thing too, the people tend to drive extremely slow.
Yeah.
Which is okay. I get. Well,
But get in the right lane. If you're
That
on the highway,
I agree
get
with.
in the right lane.
Get in the
if
right
you're going to march
lane.
around like that.
and then you got the a-holes
God,
that
those
drive
guys.
so fast.
Right, that's too much.
It's like
That might have been me today.
It could be like a foot of snow on the ground, and you got the a-hole in the truck who thinks his car is better than
right.
And
he's doing 85 and tailgating.
So there's no grade in
those people
between.
are bad. Those people are actually even worse. They're a hazard. One last thing I got to complain about when it comes to the roads. And this is becoming we had a pandemic. This is an even worse pandemic.
The potholes.
No. Potholes, whatever. That's that you got to deal with. This is, I doubt this is even just a Cleveland thing. This is probably going on all over the country. In fact, there's no way it's not. If I stop to let you walk across the street, you got to be hustling. You can't.
Yes.
No,
this happens at the
you
East
can't
9.
sit there on your phone.
We talked about this, dude.
Yeah, we talked about it years ago, but it's getting worse. Because
what?
everybody's always on their phone. So
It is ironic that you said that because as I just parked out here, it was a lady coming in the garage.
Right.
And
She's on her phone.
And she stopped to let me go. And I
You get
did
a
my
little
I
hustle.
ran
See,
across,
that's
and
the
she
classic
started
role.
laughing at me.
you got to do that.
No, dude, it's on the hop, man. On the hop.
Yeah.
Let's go. If I'm crossing if I'm at Best Buy walking in and there's cars coming through, and if someone goes, give me the little thing, you think I'm just going to walk slowly?
Yeah, that's rude.
No, I'm going to get a little slight jog.
That's right.
First of all, you don't know what's going on in their life.
I don't care.
What do you mean you don't care?
I'm in terrible shape. It takes a lot for me to get moving.
But
I always get a little hustle going.
Just get a little hop, man.
That's it. I get the little hustle going.
All it does is recognizes to the person who gave you the go is like, hey, that's really nice of you. Also, I respect your time.
Yes. It's disrespectful to not do a little hustle.
Depends on the weather.
Especially when I see somebody walking, and it's usually like teenagers, but they're walking slowly, looking at their freaking phone as they cross the street. I don't care if you're on your phone all day. Just don't do it while you cross the street.
You know what you should do the next time? Blow the horn. See what happens.
Yeah, it's so funny because when I lived in New York, I would blow my horn all the time because that's like acceptable behavior there. Here, I'm a little less aggressive on the horn.
There's different types of honking, though.
Yeah, that's true. You do the soft honk, get it moving.
Like if somebody's at a stoplight and they're looking down,
hit them with
and the light turns, right?
Yeah.
You just get a little.
Yeah.
But like the laying on it, man, dude. that's gonna get some road rage.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Absolutely. All right, more things like this later, but for now, Mike, let's get to sports.
All right, I agree with you, by the way, 100%. There's a couple of intersections that are way worse than others when it comes to people just being super nonchalant and taking their sweet time. And there's nothing worse than when the next light is a quick green.
Yeah.
And you get held up, and then you just miss it.
I know. I hate that.
And then I instantly hate that person who held me up.
That.
And I don't even like to hate people.
By the way, one last thing.
Why are y'all in a rush? Enjoy the ride.
One last thing in this vein. I don't like when it's very nice when somebody holds the door for you. Like you're going in.
Here you go with
But
this.
if I'm too far away, don't hold the door for me because then I feel like I got to
get on the hop. Yeah.
And I don't want to
So
get
now
on the
you don't
hop
wanna
when I'm
hustle,
walking
Bull.
into a restaurant.
I know.
So you want these people to hustle crossing the street, but you don't want to hustle.
No,
through the
just
door.
saying.
But you don't need to hold the door. I appreciate it, but let it go.
I hate that gray area though.
The
gray area sucks because
Because you don't know. They just far away, but they not that far away.
It's a tweener. You don't want to be a dick.
Again.
When you're holding the door, do you ever do the pretend you don't see the person so you can close the door?
For sure.
Yeah, right. I do that.
It's like
in the gray area.
That's like
if they're right behind me. And by the way, if I hold the door for you, you better say thank you.
Wait, I had a question off that.
Yeah.
So I live in an apartment building with an elevator.
I was just going to go there.
The gray
100%.
area of the elevator on whether or not you hold the door and wait or you let it close.
No.
Dustin,
unless it's a hot
that
chick,
one
let
drives
the
me
door
crazy.
close.
First off, when I get on the elevator,
Yeah.
and I'm in a hotel every week.
Yeah.
Unless it's a hot chick.
Unless they're like right behind me,
Yeah.
I'm getting on the elevator and door closed
closed.
right now.
Me too.
Right
I
now.
just did that here.
Y'all are messed
I just
up,
did.
first
I
of
went
all.
to the store here, to get my Diet Pepsi.
Y'all
right?
did wrong.
And I get in the elevator, and there's somebody walking down the hall. And I don't know that they were getting in the elevator. They might have just been walking down the hall. But second I got in, boom.
There's no need for an unnecessary awkward conversation.
That's messed up, though.
Why?
Why are y'all in a rush?
No, it's not about that. It's about saving me.
What's the rush?
The anxiety.
What is?
Yes.
Why?
The anxiety of the conversation, riding with a stranger.
There doesn't have to be conversation.
Well, then it makes me more anxious.
What's wrong?
Sitting there quietly next to a stranger.
I have the exact same thought
What's
process.
going on
The
today?
exact same thought process.
What? Y'all get awkward. Y'all feel anxious by not talking to
He
somebody.
does. Yeah.
Dude,
I do that all the time. Pull your phone out.
I just don't want to wait. For
Just
me,
pull
it's
your phone out. Act like you don't be looking at
It's a game
something.
changer. I used to hate it with
Yeah.
people, but now I do it all the time. I wear the AirPods everywhere I go.
Oh, that's a good.
Almost everywhere I go because
Yeah.
you can actually
You
hear
know
the
what?
conversation, but also
You're not a people's person.
No, I'm not actually. No.
I'm with Dustin on this one.
That's what it is.
No, you're right.
I love people. I have no problem with any.
I like my friends.
But strangers.
I'm just not a big stranger guy. I try
Why
to be as
not?
nice as possible. I really do.
You never know who you share an elevator with.
Yeah.
But it's literally like a
Yeah.
12-second ride. Like it's the same conversation every time. Hey, how you doing, man?
Yeah,
Oh, I'm doing
I
good.
know.
You getting off at 3?
How about that weather out there?
Yeah, like it's the same conversation. All right.
By the way, shout out to
Y'all
this
are
guy I
too-
met yesterday. Speaking of being a people person, I met this very nice guy named Jamal at Pita Way in Rock River. I love that place. And he's a
Never
nice
heard
guy.
of it. Never
Shout
heard
out
of it.
Jamal.
Jamal.
All right, let's get into
Was
the
he
show, guys.
black?
Big
Your
show
people
today.
was black.
We have
Like
a
you.
playoff game to recap, a playoff game to preview, and 2 interviews and some Brown stuff to get to. And that's going to be brought to us today all by FanDuel. Hey, NFL fans, you can start the season with a big return on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game. You can check out the latest stats, you live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. You'll get started with $200 in bonus bets, guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. That's at FanDuel.com/UCSS. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Bull, we're going to talk some Guardians to start today's show. Cleveland losing 5-2 yesterday in Game 1 of the ALCS against the New York Yankees, despite the fact the Yankees were 0-for when it came to hits with runners in scoring position. I want to start the conversation with this question, then you guys can take it wherever you want. But did Bo Naylor cost the Guardians yesterday with some suspect defense behind the plate?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I tell you. you know what the sick thing is?
Yeah.
Is before he just said that, I was gonna come in here and I was gonna say, you know what? They did Joey wrong. You know, it was like throw him in the fire and see what he does, right? Question. I can't remember off the top of my head. When he came in the game, was the bases loaded already?
It was.
Okay, so
he
was throwing some good pitches. The two that he let that was wild. But I will say, a good catcher does stop these things.
Yeah.
Especially the second one.
Well, the first one was in his glove.
Yes.
He picked his hand up and the ball came flying out of his glove.
That's true, too.
Yeah. He's got to stop those.
Yeah.
Now, Cantillo was obviously.
He wasn't bad. The pitches wasn't bad. Those two might have been.
He threw a lot of balls. I mean, he threw more balls than strikes in that inning.
That's true. But
he was not.
He was
pitching well.
He was nervous.
He was clearly nervous in that situation.
He's a rookie, right?
He is.
Yes.
Yeah.
How'd you feel about that call to go to him?
I want to know the same thing.
So
you said Cobb didn't have it.
I did not have a problem going to Cantillo. It obviously didn't work out.
With the bases loaded.
Well, here's the problem is they got him warming up when the inning started and there was just a runner on first. So when you're warming him up, you don't know that it's going to – like if they knew when they started warming him up that it was going to be bases loaded, they probably would have brought in someone else. And second, I got to be real about it, right? So I didn't have a problem with them bringing him in the beginnings. But second guessing it, looking back, you probably should have had somebody else warming up in that situation because he's a starting pitcher. Bringing him in with the bases loaded is not ideal. That's a really tough spot for any pitcher, especially a rookie in Yankee Stadium with the bases loaded. But he didn't warm a second person up, so by the time you got into that situation, they had no choice but to put Cantillo in. But he probably, especially when the trainer came out to look at Cobb, they probably should have warmed two guys up. My bigger issue is why start Cantillo the following inning? Because clearly he didn't have it. So why, when he did get out of the inning, he struck out, I believe, Verdugo to end the inning.
Was it 2-0?
It was
3-0. 3-0.
Why bring him out? And so the argument would be, well, the first two Yankee hitters in the bottom of the fourth are lefties. So you're going to, well, okay, let him face the lefties and then bring in the righty Avila for Judge, which is what they did. But because he had struggled with his command so badly, they should have, at the very least, pulled him there. And you could have even gone right to Avila and have him face the two lefties. Or you could have brought in Sobrowski, who pitched well outside of the one home run he gave up. And you could have had him,
So let me ask you this.
Yeah.
A more seasoned or veteran manager, would they have made that mistake of not having two guys warm up?
Well, yeah. I mean, you never know. If you go back to the 2016.
So this isn't like Stephen Vogt just because he's a rookie manager.
No.
Okay.
I mean, think back to the 2016 World Series, right? You had Terry Francona against Joe Madden, two of the greatest managers in baseball. Terry Francona is going to be a Hall of Famer. I think Joe Madden could end up being a Hall of Fame manager as well. So two of the best managers of modern history. They both, I'm not going to recap every single thing that happened, but what gets lost at the end to some degree of the 2016 World Series is, in my opinion at least, both managers made some egregious mistakes in that series. Egregious. And these are two of the best managers of all time. So no manager is immune to mistakes.
Well,
if Joey Cantillo goes out there and pitches great, Nobody's saying they shouldn't have had him in. They shouldn't have done this. It's always easy, and we always got to realize that it's always easy to look back. But when you look at that inning, as you guys are casual baseball fans, do you?
He's more of a fan than I am. I'm more of the casual.
But as a casual fan, who were you blaming at the time more, Cantillo or Bo Naylor? As a fan,
at first, I was blaming Cantillo on that.
Yeah.
But now looking back on it,
I don't know how hard it is to stop that ball.
That's what I'm saying.
I've never been in that spot.
Now
So
looking back on it, it's like, come on,
you got to
man.
make that play. It's like, okay.
Because it wasn't like if it was one of them, he threw it all the way to the left and like it was, but like the fact that it hit you and made contact with you, like that's.
I always believe.
Like I don't understand.
Go ahead, Dustin.
No, I just like Naylor's like not a great athlete, and not. I mean, I don't know. Like he's never been a great defender, has he?
He's a good pitch framer.
He's a good pitch framer. So there's a lot of different angles.
That doesn't have anything to do with what I just said.
No, that's true. That's part of defense, but a different angle of it. He's not. No, I mean, most catchers aren't great athletes.
Would Hedges
I'm
have
just
made
saying,
that
like
mistake?
being able to be nimble back there, like.
But here's the thing: like he's nimble enough. He's good. To me, I have always felt like they scored them both a wild pitch, which is essentially the official score at Yankee Stadium saying it's the pitcher's fault. Now I disagree with that. The reason they were scored wild pitches is because they hit the dirt, and stupidly in Major League Baseball, the scorer will always give it a wild pitch if it hits the dirt before the catcher. But in my opinion, a Major League catcher, if the ball bounces in front of you, between your shoulder blades, you've got to stop that ball. Absolutely. Now, some pitches are trickier than others, but I thought those were both plays. I'm not saying they're easy.
Just get your chest in front of it,
but
right?
You're a Major League catcher. And he was trying to, yes, you got to get your body.
You want to keep
That's
the ball
first
in
thing you
front
tell
of
kids.
you.
Yeah, keep the ball in front of you.
Keep the ball in front of you. He's trying to backhand it with his glove. That's not what you're taught. You backhand with your glove if it's outside your body.
With all that pad, no, just put your chest in front.
If you're doing that with the glove, you better get it. If you don't, you know that you're.
Worst case scenario, just let it hit off your chest and grab it.
You got to get down. You got to tilt your chest forward, and you got to keep the ball in front of you. And that's something you learn.
Put his gut in front of it.
That's it. If he had my gut, maybe you would have been in better shape. But, Naylor's a disaster right now. The Guardians catchers in 6 games in the playoffs have 0 hits between them. Now, with Hedges, we know he can't hit. I mean, the guy's in the big leagues because he's a great team guy and he's a good backup defensive
That's
catcher.
a shame.
But 0 for 13. I mean, you're not contributing anything.
No, I can't say much because the dude that I root for the most, he got his first.
He finally got his first hit.
I was
like,
John Kenzie, man, it was.
Christmas?
Yeah, he was doing bad. He was swinging at everything too. I'm like, good night.
Well, he saw that win pregame. He's like, all right, I'm going to take some opportunity.
I mean, I don't blame him. Juan Soto did it.
He did. And Brian Rocchio did it as well. And, Rocchio's been fantastic in the postseason. Quan's been fantastic.
Those guys, all the AUOs or all you others, the guys that you know what I mean, like not like the stars, the guys who are kind of nondescript have made good big plays. Yet Naylor and like Hosey, where are we going?
I mean, Hosey's been better than Naylor, but
better, sure, but
at least he's making good contact. But he blew that out. Like, you had the superstar opportunity in the 8th inning.
Yeah, you did.
It was 5-2. They had 2 on, 2 out. Jose's up, and he hits a weak ground ball the second. Like, that was the game. Felt like from the minute it started, it was all Yankees. It just had that. Like, it's their game vibe.
I felt the same thing.
I did too.
I never felt like the Guardians were going to win. Like,
when Juan Soto hit
Tigers,
that home run, I said, it's done.
Even the first 2 innings, like, they had base runners. Felt like the Guardians were not seeing Rodon. And Rodon, who's been pretty bad as a Yankee.
He was really good
He
late.
lights out.
He was on
He
fire.
was really good yesterday.
Striking
how many
people
pitches?
out.
How many times did the Guardians swing at pitches that were hitting the dirt?
Naylor swung at 5 pitches that were way off the plate.
I tell you what about Rocchio though.
Yeah.
Jason said on what day was this? Saturday. He was talking about I might think we might need to keep Rocchio and get rid of Jimenez, and I said, you on dog food. That's what I said. Now, I'm more open to it. I'm not saying we should do that, but I'm hearing it. I'll hear it.
Rocchio's got to do it for more than 2 months.
I'll hear it.
But Jimenez, honestly, now his contract is pretty bad. considering how unproductive he's been offensively. I don't know that the Guardians would have an easy time trading him because they signed him to an extension, and he's not been very good. But he's played well the last 2 games, Jimenez.
Yeah, no, I ain't saying
but they need
Rocchio making them plays though.
Yeah. Oh, he's been great. And I don't know that I love the dancing on the home run when it makes it 4-1. I'm not a big fan of that. Dancing, it's just like Greg Newsome celebrating a pass breakup when the Browns are down 14 points. So
Maybe it's energy. It brings energy to the. It sparks everybody else.
Yeah. Well,
maybe
we'll get to the
what.
Browns part of this later, but yeah, but they had their chance with Jose and they couldn't get it done. The only good news from yesterday is that A, it's only one game, and B, at least you got more rest for your top relievers because none of their A-list relievers pitched yesterday. So now coming into tonight,
will you be more aggressive tonight if you're? Because this is sort of like not a must-win, but man, you go down 0-2. It's pretty close to must-win.
Teams that lose 0-2, that are down 0-2 in a 7-game series, lose that series. I think it's 84% of the time.
All right, so it's a must-win.
I thought it was 88 that they said on the broadcast.
88.
I
believe
that's
I heard
what they said
84.
on the
It doesn't matter. Either whether it's 84 or 88,
just call it 80.
It's bad.
I just don't want A-Rod and Derek Jeter to be right.
I know those. I hate.
Yeah, I got that.
Yeah, you definitely stopped yourself.
You almost called him a jive turkey.
I don't understand how people don't understand how much. What did you think I was going to say?
You know what you was going to say. You were going to say it.
You were calling the CS.
Yeah, you were. Yes, you were.
I don't think people understand how much I hate the Yankees. I grew up. It's not about being in Cleveland. I always hated the Yankees. As a kid, I despised the Yankees. Their fans are so obnoxious. It's unbearable, and they're so cocky and confident. I'm in this chat group with some guys from back in New York, and they're so arrogant about the Yankees. Obviously, it got even worse yesterday. And the Guardians have lost to the Yankees in the playoffs in 2020. They lost to them again in 2022. The Indians, the then Indians, actually beat the Yankees 2 of the first 3 times they played in the playoffs. But since then, the Yankees have won, I think, 4 times in a row. But yeah, they got to win. Listen, until you lose Game 4, it's never over. But they're going to almost definitely lose the series if they lose tonight.
This is the last one for me. Did I miss did Gavin Williams come into rotation yet?
No,
he has not pitched.
He's going to pitch
4.
He'll pitch Game 4. I don't know if they've announced it yet.
He's starting.
They haven't announced it.
I would. You know what? Looking back, they should have started
him
yesterday.
Oh yeah.
I think they should have started him yesterday. And it's a second guess, but he's just got way better stuff than Alex Cobb. And even though he hasn't been that good, I don't know. And now Alex Cobb, by the way, he's dealing with an injury. He may not be able to pitch Game 5. Go ahead.
I do want to ask one thing before we pivot our attention to tonight's game, Bibbee versus Cole. But the Guardians, as you mentioned, Bull, it felt like it was a Yankees game literally from the very first pitch to the out, even though the Guardians made it competitive.
Yeah.
Do you think it bodes well for them knowing that despite the fact they didn't get their best pitching effort, they played sloppy defensively and wild pitches should have blocked them, whatever, however you want to describe that. At the end of the day, it was a 5-2 game, and they made the Yankees essentially put their closer out there, Luke Weaver. I know he's not been the closer all season. He's been the closer of late. For 5 outs. Like they made the Yankees work for that in a game that they really had no business being part of.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking for anything right now to be positive about. It's one game. The Mets lost 9-0 in Game 1 of the Dodgers. They went back and won Game 2.
7-3 or something?
Yeah, so things can turn around. Momentum is the next day starting pitcher. Now, the Yankees have Gerrit Cole. He's pitched great against the Guardians in the playoffs. And guy's a great pitcher. But you got your best pitcher today. And Bibbee, and yes, I think the Guardians will be very aggressive in terms of using their bullpen today if necessary. Like
Matt Boyd type aggressive, like 2 innings to get him out.
Yeah, if necessary. But
you can't do that. You can't do that with Bibbee.
What's that?
You can't do
not
that
like
with
Matthew Boyd. They took Matthew Boyd without any reason to take him out. But
especially if you get a lead in this game, man.
Right? Oh yeah. But if Bibbee is struggling, yeah, you can't be too patient. But you're not going to pull him out after 2 innings. Like there was no reason to pull out Boyd, except you're antsy about him facing. And it's going to be interesting to see when they come back to Cleveland. And Zach and I were talking about this on the Guardian show this morning. I would really think about using some openers against the Yankees. So this with the other starters. So this way, if you have an opener pitch the first inning in Game 3, and then you have Matthew Boyd come in inning 2. Well, now he could pitch maybe 5 innings because you only have to face Judge and Soto once instead of twice, or maybe 2 times instead of 3 times, because you put in a good reliever in the beginning to face those guys the first time around.
Let's talk about tonight's pitching matchup in Game 2 after a quick word from Prize Picks. Prize Picks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. It is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Unlike other apps on Prize Picks, it's just you against the numbers. Prize Picks puts their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. When your picks hit, you get your money back in as quick as $15. Download the Prize Picks app today and use promo code LOCKEDONNFL and get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's LOCKEDONNFL as a promo code on Prize Picks and instantly get $50 just by playing 5. The best part, you don't even have to win to receive the bonus. It is guaranteed. Prize Picks, run your game when you want. Bibee versus Cole. Ace versus Ace Bowl.
Yeah.
How do you like the Guardians' chances with Tanner Bibee on the mound?
I like their chances. I can't be overly confident, though, because Gerrit Cole's the better pitcher. I like the way Bibee's pitched down the stretch of the season. You look at the overall numbers. Cole missed half the season, and Cole wasn't typical Cole, but he did pitch great in his last start against Kansas City in the ALDS. By the way, I saw the stat today from, I think it was Bob Nightingale, who I think writes for USA Today now. I don't know who's writing. He said, this seemed impossible to me, but I'll trust him here. Hopefully he wasn't wrong about this. He said that the Guardians-Tigers Game 5 was the highest-rated game, Division Series baseball game in 15 years, which seems insane because it's 2 not big baseball markets.
This is Game 5?
Yeah, the deciding game of that series, which is crazy.
On a Saturday?
That's what he said. It seems insane.
Did he tweet it?
During college football?
That's what I'm saying.
I don't see any tweets today from Bob Nightingale.
Nightingale,
yeah. USA Today.
I
There's
saw
no
it.
way that I mean, I guess it's
On a
possible.
Saturday
It didn't
with
make
college
any sense.
football. And what time did they play?
Let's
1?
face it, college football is a shell of itself. Let's
No,
be honest.
actually, no. The
Their
numbers.
ratings would
I'm about to say
say
the
differently.
way that these games have been
Just go
playing.
with my narrative here, will you?
I'm just trying to.
Point is,
Oh, I
it's like
found
in
the
the middle of
tweet,
that
Bo.
Alabama game, which was
It
nuts.
doesn't make any sense. Go ahead.
I found the tweet. It wasn't from today. It was from yesterday. But he said, and this is from Bob Nightingale, the ALCS Game 5 between the Guardians and Tigers was
Well,
the
he already
most watched
screwed it up. He said
Division Series
ALCS
game in
Game
17 years. Average postseason viewership up 18% over last year.
So it went up.
It doesn't seem to make any sense, especially that.
Oh, you know what? It's
Yeah.
the most, ready? We're missing one key word here,
Yeah.
Bull. Was the most watched Division Series day game in 17 years.
Oh, well, that's. I mean, what a lame stat. I'm sorry I even brought it
Totally
up. I didn't
lame
even
stat.
notice that.
Yeah, day game. Big difference.
There's probably not many day games.
On the weekend.
Yeah, I mean.
People
Yeah,
typically are working.
That's weird. It is still strange, though, because Guardians Tigers are not popular national
Yeah, but it's
teams.
fine. But I mean, how many day games have there been? Game 5s
Yeah.
on a Saturday.
What, did he say it was the highest rated day game 5 or DS game period?
I just let me pull up the tweet one more time.
Yeah,
I'll read
I
this
don't know.
exactly.
I don't know why we
for
care
word.
that much about this.
I think it's good. I mean, I
Because
like
Bull-
that baseball's getting
brought
good
it up.
ratings.
Oh, like
That's good.
Bull just wants to hype up his sport. That's fine. I
Yeah,
get it.
I mean,
get it.
listen.
If I can support tennis, I will.
There you go.
The exact wording of the tweet.
Yeah.
The ALCS Game 5 between
And he
the
screwed
Guardians.
it up by saying ALCS.
Yeah, you're right.
Nightingale, you're a bit of a doofus.
And that's not me misreading
Yeah,
that. That
he's
is
not
me
the
reading
sharpest thing
exactly
to
as he
show.
said.
That's true.
The ALCS Game 5 between the Guardians and Tigers was the most watched Division Series day game in 17 years.
Hey, if you want a
Okay.
good nap, give him a call.
Oh, God, he is. Yeah. But, all right. Anyway, the ratings were good for the game.
Bibee versus Cole.
we should have him on the show.
The ratings will be huge for the World Series. I bet you those NLCS ratings between the Dodgers and Mets are
Huge.
Going to be huge.
Yeah.
Huge. That was a great game.
I was about
yesterday.
to say, their
Yeah, it
game
was
It was a fun game. If they didn't get those 5 runs in the second or whatever.
Well, the Dodgers had a chance. They
They
had
to-
the
they
bases
multiple
loaded.
chances.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the Dodgers. I mean,
You know, and it's just a
that
weird.
stinks.
Like, baseball's
Think
so
they're still gonna win
weird.
series?
do I think the Dodgers going to win the
Yeah, or
series?
do you think we're gonna have an all New York World Series?
No, I think the Dodgers.
I still think the Guardians are going to win. What do you think about that?
Well,
they lose tonight.
Tonight will tell it all.
I think if they win tonight, yeah.
Yeah.
If they win
I
tonight,
think the Dodgers I picked the Mets and Guardians when the playoffs
Did you
started.
really?
When the playoffs started, not when the season started.
Huh.
That would have been very impressive.
I didn't know that. Why did you like the Mets?
I liked the way they got into the playoffs, and I really like their lineup right now. Like, they have a lot of hitters that got hot down the stretch.
Mm-hmm. Are you okay with Lindor having some success now?
Absolutely. I'm not anti-Lindor.
I'm happy for him.
Yeah.
You was against him for a while?
No, I'm not against. Never been against him. But there are some fans in Cleveland that always get so butthurt about the idea when players go to other teams.
And
I don't never feel that.
Listen, he said something about liking New York or whatever. Lindor was a great representative for the city of Cleveland. And if the Indians at the time would have paid him, he would have stayed. I know there's a lot of people think, he would have left no matter what. I don't believe that. Now, would he have taken the hometown discount that Ramirez took? No. But I don't blame him for that. I credit a guy. It's fine to laud Ramirez for taking the discount, but I'm not going to blame a guy for not taking a discount.
Why would you?
And but I think if they would have offered Lindor a fair deal,
what did he get with the Mets?
I don't even remember now.
A lot.
He got 300.
What's that?
Oh, that's all?
Lindor?
That's all.
Yeah, it's 300.
And what did Ramirez sign?
Like 160? I don't even remember.
Man, that make it a difference. $140 million.
Lindor had a 10-year, $341 million.
Lindor 10 for 341.
And Ramirez was
Less
7
years.
for 141. So $200 million less for Jose.
3 years less, but still, that's a lot less per year.
All right, let's get back to tonight's game though.
Yeah.
Tyvis, Dustin,
Yep.
Gerrit Cole on the mound for the Yanks, Bibbee on the mound for the Guards. Where's your confidence level that the Guards can even this up at one game apiece as we head back to Cleveland?
Gerrit Cole is really nice, especially in the playoffs. And they're at home. But there has been moments where I've seen Gerrit Cole, not in the playoffs, but there's moments that I've seen Gerrit Cole struggle. And to me, if the Guardians is hitting well, which they are hitting well, I mean, it's a lot of guys a lot of stars that we weren't thinking about, like Rokio, Quan's coming through. If Big Christmas continue to stay on his little hit trajectory that he on, if Jimenez can give you something, it's guys that's pulling their weight, and it's the time for the big guns. I need Jose, I need Josh, and I think that Josh especially, he's overdue.
He's been awful.
He's overdue, and I think tonight would be the night. I want to see him rock the baby on Gerrit Cole so they can get him fired up. And
Isn't that who he did it against?
That's who he did it against. I want to see him rock the baby on Gerrit Cole tonight. And this in Yankee Stadium, that would be, you talk about sending some energy through a lineup, that would be great. So
confidence level 1 through 10.
Did they win tonight?
Yeah.
Realistically, 7.5.
Wow, that's okay. Dustin, you that high or lower?
No, I'm in the middle of the road. Like I guess my confidence level would be what I think the game is going to be, which is like 50-50. I think it's sort of a coin flip type of game. In fact, I would get not. In fact, I mean the Yankees have the advantage.
Yeah,
they've got the better pitcher on the mound.
And they're at home.
Yeah. and that is a huge concern. Not that those fans even care about the Yankees. They have them on their phones anyway. You watch the game?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the diehard fans can't afford to go.
Right.
But anyway, I don't know why they caught a stray. But anyway, so I think this is going to be a tough game. If the Guardians are going to win tonight, I think Jose is going to have to step up. Naylor's going to have to step up. And I also say this, guys, man, we got runners on last night in the early part of the game. Let's be aggressive on the bases and try to steal some bases and try to hit and run, whatever you got to do, man, because we got to manufacture some runs, especially if dudes aren't hitting them out of the park.
It's a good point. The Guardians were one of the most aggressive base-running, base-stealing teams all season, and they haven't really stolen any bases in the playoffs. That hasn't been a big part of their game. They really need to be more aggressive on the bases.
If you get Kwani on off the rip, let's take a shot at him. He's got some wheels.
I want to know if I could steal a base.
Oh yeah, dude. These guys who steal bases are not even close to as fast as you.
Really?
Well, not now at this point.
Oh, I think you're still fast.
No, I still got it.
Yeah.
There are some guys.
Wait a minute.
Of course there are some guys, but I'm saying there are also some guys.
Is Shohei really that fast?
I don't know what his times are. I mean,
Jose at his age,
It's
he's
not
really that
just
fast.
about being
You
fast.
think Ohtani is gonna? It's about anticipation. But you
Yeah.
think?
I agree with that.
Do you think that Ohtani runs under a 4.7?
No.
I don't either.
I'd like to know.
I think I still
Do we
could run
have that
under a
information?
4.7
can
today.
find
I'm
out.
trying to look
They
up how
usually
fast
don't
he
do
does.
40s with baseball. It's more
20s?
You know, it's well.
What's his 20-yard
60
split?
feet 6 inches to the base, or 60 feet.
I feel like
that's
I
like
can-
Little League.
I
I'm
feel
so
like-
obsessed with Little League.
I
90
thi-
feet per base. So I don't know if they do.
From the time his knee go up,
I
I'm
don't know.
gone.
So
I think
90
I can
feet
make
is
it.
30 yards.
If I look at that picture and I don't think I need that big of a lead off. But when he throw that knee up, if I take off, I think I'm gone.
Here's what they do. So
I don't think that he
But
could
would
get.
you-
I don't think he get it there.
You
That
would-
catcher get it and
The
sling it to
problem
second
is
base.
you would have a hard time deciphering a pickoff move. Like you're not used to that.
He ain't picking me off.
That's really not the conversation, I guess. The conversation is who's faster, right? I mean, like if you lined up against
Yeah,
Ohtani.
I'm sure you're probably. I don't think you're faster
I
than
feel
him
like
now.
I would win. Yes.
Now.
All right,
Boy, do
listen.
you not remember in this softball game they threw this egregious pass and
Yeah.
I went and got it and threw it to third base before the dude could. No,
Yeah,
I
but
threw
you
it to second base.
Tyvis,
talking about-
I was
what's your
rolling.
What's your
that?
fastest mile per hour run? I found Otani's.
That's BS.
Like
dude.
you talking about like my game speed? I think I got up to like 22 something before.
I think that should say feet per second.
I found, so he had 30 feet per second, which equals out to a 20.45 mile.
Oh yeah, I got him beat. Yeah, I got him beat.
Yeah, you're running over that.
Yeah, I got him beat.
Which comes out to what?
20 miles.
20.45 miles an hour, which is fast.
Which is fast.
That's fast for sure. But I got him beat.
All right.
I'd still. What did he have this year? 50-50?
Yep. No, he had more than that.
Whatever. But it was big that he
ended
got
up with
50.
close to 60 steals.
Yeah, I definitely would do it. Man, that should be a
Think you
thing.
can beat me in a race?
Today.
right now.
What did you
I mean, you're
run
10
in your
years
40?
older.
I'm 10 years older than you, but I'm in.
But
really
he's
good
in
shape.
way better shape
I'm
than
in
me.
better shape than you right now.
Yeah.
I ran 4.37.
I
We
don't
should
know.
set
That'd be
this
good.
up. Let's get a race going.
I would do a 20, not a 40.
Yeah, well, I'm not doing
I don't need to really open up. We can do it though.
We could
we
definitely
should
do
set up
it.
that race.
I'd actually love that.
We can set that up.
All right, Mike, let's switch gears here.
We're going to talk a little Browns here, guys, after a quick word from Game Time. Real quick, predictions for the game. We didn't actually get your actual prediction. Winning score. Who wins?
I
What's
got the
score?
Guardians winning 4-3 tonight.
I got
Dustin?
the Guardians win. Oh, go ahead.
I don't feel good about the game, fellas.
I
I'm
can
sorry,
understand
man.
Yankees.
After last night,
So
man,
you got Yankees what?
I sort of thought like we had to get game one.
5-1 Yankees.
I hope that I'm wrong. Of
course.
No, I don't see it as like a blowout, man. I think it's going to be a tight game. I think it's like a 2-1 game.
That's what I think too, but I got 2-1 Guardians.
I mean, I see this game being like nothing in the seventh.
Nah, somebody gonna hit a home run before the
Okay,
end.
1-0. I mean, it's gonna be tight. It's gonna
yes,
be tight.
1-0,
Like, someone's gonna
yeah.
get that solo shot, and you're gonna feel like it's gonna be like a 3-touchdown lead.
Yeah,
in
it
football.
does. It's some of those games that feels that way. And it's going to be cold again tonight, so wind will be a factor as well. So you got the
That
Yankees.
scared the hell out of me before the game when
Yeah.
What's his name? Gardner? Is it Gardner? The guy on the TBS?
Ron Darling?
No, the old Yankee leadoff guy. Oh,
Brett Gardner.
Granderson.
Oh, Brett Gardner.
Granderson.
Oh, Curtis Granderson.
Curtis
Yeah,
Granderson.
yeah.
I said something else. But he was talking about the win, and I was
Yeah.
like, man, because I just don't, our guys haven't been hot with the bats.
Nope.
And so that right field porch is so short.
Yeah.
man.
Wasn't they
It's like-
saying like didn't Jose hit something and they was like
Well, he had his
he hit like a
second to last at bat. He had a bullet to center that Judge tracked down that I thought was going out.
Yeah.
on
yeah,
that.
that's what
Well, there was another one, too, that the Yankees hit the left. It looked like it was going way
Stanton
out.
crushed it in the first
Yeah.
inning.
Yes,
Yeah.
first
Yankees
inning,
caught
and
it.
I'm like, oh, and then the wind kind of pushed it back
Yep.
in. So it was just a weird night. I felt nervous every time the Yankees had a base runner
Yeah.
on because in my head I'm doing, okay, if they hit one little dink to right field, then it's 2-0, 3-0.
The thing about the Yankee lineup, it's not as good as it's been in years past. However, they got so many big, huge guys. They look more intimidating.
They're so intimidating.
And, like, you look at guys at the bottom of the lineup, like Anthony Rizzo's hitting eighth. And
Yeah, Rizzo's a monster.
He's not the player
And by
he
the way,
was.
we all
Yeah.
remember him from 2016
Right. And
when he was
always
a killer.
hits the Guardians. He got a hit last night. Like, he had a terrible season. He's towards the end of his career. Alex Verdugo batting ninth. Like, he had a terrible season. But these are guys who have had success in the past. So Stanton too. Like he's killed the Guardians before.
And they're big physical dudes.
Yeah, they got all these big dudes,
they're
yeah.
intimidating looking.
Yes, they are. Big team.
Fight, no.
That's true.
No, but they got to pitch to him, and you know
You
those
wouldn't
dudes
want
got
it.
some
That's the
freaking
last thing
power,
you want to
dude.
fight.
Definitely don't want
Would you want to pitch to those guys?
What he gonna do to me?
No, I'm saying.
I don't think I get what you're saying.
Would you rather pitch to Stephen Kwan or Aaron Judge?
Stephen Kwan.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, although it
In
depends.
the
if I need
playoffs,
to-
it's a
There you
toss-up
go.
right
That's
now.
what I'm
It
saying.
depends
I'd
if the.
rather-
I'll tell you what. If it's the bases loaded, I might rather face Judge because Kwan's more likely to put
Yeah.
the ball in play. Overall, Judge, I'd rather.
All right, let's pivot, talk a little Browns. But real quick, if you guys want to catch a Cavs game in person for the upcoming season, there's no better sport to watch live than basketball. And there's no easier or better place to get your tickets online than with Game Time. Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you not only incredible deals on great seats, but also everything else you can imagine at the convenience of your fingertips, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. And it's not just sports. Game Time and Game Time Picks has tickets available to any live event in your city. Plus, they have priority Game Time Picks that makes it even easier and convenient to scroll through the app. You can see the all-in pricing and get a view from your seat before you buy. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time Picks. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use promo code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Once again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's game time. All right, but let's talk a little Browns for a second. Kevin Stefanski had his Monday presser yesterday. And I want to play this soundbite from him, which is going to set us up on the rest of the conversation.
Before you play it,
Yep.
it was like a buzz because the press conference got delayed an hour. So I think the thought was, okay, maybe there's some big news coming. Unfortunately, there wasn't. So.
And you'll hear there are two questions. You'll hear the question and the answer from Kevin Stefanski about the future of his quarterback. And he's sticking with Deshaun Watson. Steve, let's hear it.
With the offensive struggles you guys have been having and, the playoff hopes kind of shrinking, just why not try Jameis as a potential spark that you're looking for?
Yeah, I think it's just important that we continue to do everything we can to play good, sound football. I think there were moments of that, obviously, yesterday. I think Deshaun gives us the best chance to win, continues to give us the best chance to win. And we need to play really good offensive football at his position and really at every position to be successful on Sunday.
Kevin, I know that we asked you this last week, but it seems to be that the prevailing narrative still seems to be that everyone thinks that Jimmy Haslam is forcing you to play Deshaun Watson. So I guess I just want to throw it out there again and ask how is this decision made, and is there any truth to that whatsoever?
Well, as you know, Mary Kay, I don't get caught up in narratives, but we have a good dialogue with myself, Andrew, ownership about all things that have to do with this team. They've been nothing but supportive, and any decision when it comes to football is my decision.
That was Kevin Stefanski letting the world know that he's sticking with Deshaun, and it is his decision.
Okay, then
No
he's
one
going to
else's.
take all the blame for it.
Well, and that's the question I want to ask
he
you.
doesn't get a pass.
That's what I want to ask you. Is Kevin Stefanski making mistakes by
yeah.
saying something like that?
Guys, I don't know what the truth is. I don't know how much Jimmy Haslam's involved. But if Kevin Stefanski's going to keep saying it's on him, then it's on him. Then he's the one making the stupid decision, at least in my opinion, to continue to play.
I
Deshaun
don't think that he's making the decision. I also think him saying that doesn't make people think that he's making the decision.
No, that's true.
So you can say that you're going to be critical of him,
Yeah.
but deep down inside, even though you are, you still know it's not his call.
But Dustin, he has job security.
Yeah.
He is.
That's one thing that
if
doesn't
he gets
exist
fired,
in America.
But it does when you've made millions of dollars.
Job security does not exist
But
in
Tyvus,
America.
if he gets fired, he still gets paid every dollar.
That's
he's owed.
fine. But he ain't got a job.
You don't think somebody else would hire him?
Yeah, I mean, the guy's got a track record now that would get him.
Exactly. At the very
gig.
least, he'd get a coordinator.
He's get another gig right
job
now.
So
security
why would
is
he
not
just
a thing.
if Jimmy Haslam is forcing this, why wouldn't he say to Jimmy, my team, I'm making this decision. As long as I'm the coach, I'm making the decision to quarterback.
Well, and listen, if he's going to not do what he really thinks he should do, then that's going to hurt his chances at getting
100%.
another job.
Because other teams around the
They're going to be like, oh, this guy's a coward.
Yeah, exactly. I just don't understand it. And does anybody believe that he believes Deshaun Watson gives them the best chance to win?
Zero.
He's
not an idiot.
Wait a minute. Do I believe that he believes?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you think think about this, and I'll just give you some more to think about. When he is making his game plan and thinking, okay, we're playing the Philadelphia Eagles this week.
Right.
Does Deshaun Watson, Watson can make this play. Watson's going to do this. Is he really thinking that? There's no chance. He's not a moron.
My thing is, I'm sorry, Steve, I done moved on you, my fault. But anyways, my thing is, whoever's decision it was to bring Deshaun in is on the hook for this, whether it was Jimmy, whether it was them. My thing is, the only reason why I feel like Kevin is handicapped in this situation is because it's not his offense that he's running. It's not what traditionally he's thrived on doing. And the fact that he refuses to go back to that because of him is the problem that I have. To me, even last game, it was a ton of success in the run game just from going under center. Go back to what you know. When in doubt, this is a life thing. When in doubt, you go for what you know. And if it's not working, go back to what worked. You was at least middle of the pack. Stop forcing something that's not there. Whoever came up with the thing that we're going to be this big passing attack, they need to be quiet. Like that's not what this team is. That's not what it's going to be. Go back to the stuff that worked. Like that's just, at the end of the day, that's what I would do if I was Kevin. If I got to play Deshaun, whether it's my decision to play Deshaun, whether I feel like he has the best chance, I'm at least go out there and call the plays that I think that I know was going to work. That's what I would do.
If he's calling plays that he doesn't want to call and he's playing quarterback that he doesn't want to play, then he's not really a head coach. So what is happening here? I don't understand why he would put up with that. Most of us have to put up with things like that, of that nature in jobs, because if you get fired, you lose your job, your family may not eat, or you may not be able to pay the mortgage. His family's still going to eat. Like, he's fine. He is set for life.
Who wants to be fired?
No one wants to be fired, and that's fair. Yeah. Like if we were in that situation, we probably wouldn't want to be fired either, even though you have tons of money. But the reality is, like, he's got to stand up for himself.
Yes.
And I don't know, man. I'm so torn.
This
is such a bizarre situation.
It is.
It makes no sense.
No,
it is.
It is clear the ship has sailed with Watson. Did
you read the article in the Ringer? I'm sure you guys talked about that yesterday, right?
No.
Well,
I sent it to you guys. It didn't come out yesterday in the show. I sent it to you guys in the
12 reasons why he's the worst quarterback of the millennium.
I somehow missed that.
It wasn't like he's the worst quarterback this year. It's like the worst quarterback in the last 20 years.
Well, if you look at, there's a bunch of different statistics where he's like 562 out of 567.
But he's not dead. He's not dead last.
He's on all these lists that he's on. The other guys on these lists are Jamarcus Russell and Akili Smith and David Carr, like the all-time terrible quarterbacks.
I think the mistake was going away from. I still think it's in the game plan. I still think that at some point he has to realize that I'm not the guy that I once was. Like back in Houston, I could do all these things. I don't have that ability like that anymore.
But if he hasn't made that adjustment yet, what makes you think that's going to ever happen?
You know what? Sometimes when you get that humble pie, some people take it and they see it. Like, look at it. Like, look at it. What do you mean? How can you fight this? If I'm talking to Deshaun and we rolling tape, what are you telling me? What do you think he gonna say to me? Like, look. What you defend it? What you telling me? What do you mean you don't know that it ain't good? Look.
But there's been no adjustment made. I don't know. I mean, that game was. The offense.
You know what they'll say? He went 11 for 12 in the second half.
I don't care about that.
Congratulations.
That's what they're gonna say.
Most of that was in the fourth quarter. The Eagles clearly were playing in a way like a prevent style defense late in that game, because they're like, we have the lead. We know Deshaun Watson can't get in the end zone, so we're going to play kind of soft. And by the way, a couple other things from yesterday. You guys didn't have a chance to chime in. Listen. I have been a big Kevin Stefanski supporter. His time management, clock management have been awful of late. He does not use his timeouts well. Can somebody explain to me why he kicked the field goal I know it's 4th and 10, whatever. You're down 7 points. What is the field? The only thing the field goal does is then if you go down and score a touchdown, you win instead of a tie. But you still need a touchdown. I don't understand kicking that field goal there because even if you
how much time was left? I forget.
Like 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Right?
It was
340 something.
I think 4 minutes, but yeah. It was
so
not
if you
a ton of
believe the reason you're kicking field goals because you believe your defense can stop the other team and get the ball back. But if you believe that, then why not go for it? If you get it, you score a touchdown. If you stop them, you can get another touchdown potentially or only a field goal. But if you don't stop them, they have terrible field position. And if you stop them, then you'll get good field position again.
Aren't you the analytics guy?
I believe in analytics.
I think that in this case,
analytically wise, the Browns are one of the worst 3rd/4th down teams, I think.
Well,
ever.
Yeah.
At least third down, yeah.
So knowing analytics, you would have kicked that field goal too.
I would not have.
Yes, you would have.
I would not have.
Yes, you would have.
I think you have to have a feel for your team.
It's
though, man.
4th and 10. You going for it?
He is set. Yes, because they have terrible field position. Even if I don't get it, I need a touchdown either way. I still need a touchdown either way.
4th and 10.
Touchdown tie or touchdown win. There's a difference.
Right.
And I think to Tyvis's point, in that situation, you have to say, okay, if we have a 20% chance of making this, and it's probably less than that, why would you?
So he has no faith in his quarterback. That's what it comes down to. If you had a good quarterback, if you had a quarterback you trusted in that situation.
Yeah, we're on the same page here with that.
Ain't nobody
on the same page with that. But I also think that points are at a premium. We haven't scored over 20 points at all this year? Once?
Not once.
Not once.
You know what's amazing?
Dang, McNuggets, I was watching that game, and I just thought about our fence rider question. I said, me and McNuggets going to look like prophets when they get 20 points.
No.
I was feeling good, too.
Prophets. I was texting with our guy, Cleve TA, about, just about some of the numbers that are so bad for Watson. I was like, is this completely fair? Does it factor in this? Blah, blah, blah. We were talking about it. He told me, he made the point, and I knew it was bad, but he made the point that not only has Deshaun Watson been basically the worst quarterback in the league, but the Browns haven't faced a single top 20, not top 10, not top 5. They have not faced a top 20 pass defense yet. Think about that. The Browns have played the easiest pass defense schedule, and he's been the worst quarterback in the league. And it happens again this week because the Bengals' pass defense is no good. After that, though, after they play the Bengals, almost every game the rest of the year is against good pass defense.
I got news for you, pal. I'd take Daniel Jones today over Deshaun Watson.
And Daniel Jones is not good.
Yeah, and my point is they only scored 7 points last night. Or 2 nights ago.
Yeah.
You know what?
Well, the Bengals, I'll give the Bengals defense credit. They've been the worst defense in football.
They played well in that game.
They played well. It helped having B.J. Hill and the other defensive lineman they got from the Texans.
Sheldon Rankins.
Having those, their starting D tackles have been out, and that's really killed them. But I still don't think the Bengals defense is very good. But I don't think Deshaun Watson can take advantage of it.
Well, on paper, Joe Burrow versus Deshaun Watson, this game should be 35-3.
It should be. The Bengals offense, which has been good this year, was not very good against the Giants.
Oh, man.
That run was crazy that he had.
Oh, yeah.
Did you guys go back and look at this if you can? One of the Giants' DBs, Burrow's already at least 5 yards past the line of scrimmage, maybe more. And I noticed up at the top where he ends up scoring the touchdown in that end zone, there was a DB on the Giants started running across the field in the opposite direction. I'm like, what is he doing?
Was running off the field?
No. So the touchdown was, say, this is the field, right?
Okay.
And Burrow ran this way to this end zone, right? To this
You're
end.
terrible at describing this.
That's not
Basically, what he's saying is Joe Burrow was running this way. The DB saw him and stopped and turned that way, like not going after him to stop him from getting.
He must not have seen him or something, but he was already past the line of scrimmage.
You know what it was? He had some money on the parlay,
maybe,
and that's
on Joe Burrow's rushing.
Joe
Burrow went over his rushing yards, I'm sure,
on that play.
You know what's sad? I thought about this today, McNuggets, as I'm driving up here. You remember when Deshaun was going to when they first got Deshaun, that first preseason he was going to start, and we all had a toast out here to the fact that we would never have to worry about that long list.
Yeah, we retired.
Oh, my God.
And
I had the jersey.
I had apple juice.
Oh,
I remember it was one of my better ideas that has turned out to be a catastrophic flop.
Turns out we jumped the gun.
Right.
That's all I'm gonna say.
At the time they made that trade, Dustin and I were on the air. We were going bananas. Like you thought they finally got a great quarterback.
I was actually off the air that day.
That's true. I was on my
I was on my way to Pittsburgh.
That's right.
I called into to the show.
That's right.
You was ecstatic.
I went nuts. Right. You finally got a franchise quarterback. Blah blah blah. And that first year, you're like, okay, it wasn't good, but he was suspended. And Baker sucked that year, that first year in 22. He was terrible. So you're like, okay, it's going to be fine. And since last year, I mean, it's just.
You know what this is? It continues to prove my point.
Yeah.
You do not pay players before they play for your team.
They did it with Jerry Jeudy, too.
Just don't do that.
And Jerry Judy's just the guy.
Because you think that you know what you're getting.
Yeah.
But until they get in there and play with the guys, you got to see how they mesh. And so far, we've done a poor job of paying people before they even took a snap.
Yeah.
You know who the big culprit? Russell Wilson did that with with Denver.
Hey, let me ask you a question, guys.
Don't do that.
Have you guys in your life ever bought a car sight unseen? Like you didn't see the car, you didn't drive it?
No.
I bought during the pandemic. I bought a car for my wife.
Yeah.
On Carvana, yes.
Right, and
that was the only time I've ever done that.
Was it brand new or used?
It was used.
Okay, so
no.
All right.
The answer is no.
My point
is
a
major risk.
It's a big time risk, right? I mean, I've done that. I did it one time with a new car, and I felt good about it because it was a brand new car. But like a used car,
it worked out for us.
I did that another time, and it was okay.
It worked out for us, but it's a big risk.
But like, you want to test drive it, right?
Just why I would never get a car for myself without test driving because I got to be comfortable in the seat.
Just like you don't marry someone without living with them.
That's 100% right.
I agree with that statement too.
And when you mention it like that, we never really got a chance for an extended time, like a legit extended time, to see how Deshaun and Stefanski fit together as a coach and a system, and does what Deshaun do match what Kevin likes to play call, and what Kevin likes to play call can Deshaun. We never saw that culmination.
But even in the games last year, wasn't they running Kevin stuff last year? Where even in the
closer to it than this year.
Even the Titans game where it was like his best game as a Brown, or was it the Cardinals game? Whatever game it was.
Titans.
Wasn't it still Kevin's stuff? So like, why would you? What was the problem? And my biggest thing
we should
is
have made a bigger deal of the fact that they had a surprisingly good year with. I can't stand that people keep saying 5 quarterbacks. So the 5th quarterback played the meaningless last game. They didn't win. There was 4 quarterbacks. Technicality, but. They had a surprisingly good offensive season and then fired basically the entire offensive staff.
I think
that made no sense.
But my thing is, it wasn't one of the selling points or one of the outside of the 230. It wasn't one of the big reasons was he liked Kevin's stuff.
Supposedly.
So if you like Kevin's stuff, you like it so much that you changed the whole thing? I just feel like maybe Deshaun felt like the quarterback in Kevin's system, because he's done it with so many people, it kind of made you look like it didn't matter who was the quarterback. Like I just need you to do these things. Anybody could do it. And maybe he wanted more recognition. Like, you're gonna pay me $230. Maybe I need to do something to show that I'm worth $230. Like, I need to do things that people
how about
can't.
Complete a slant first?
Yeah. I agree. No,
yes.
What you said, yes.
Like if I'm Deshaun, I'm just like, put me in a position where I can do like the most minimal things.
Well, how about when they scored their first field goal in the first half? I mean, that ball would have been picked off, but the 2 defenders ran into each other.
Yeah.
Remember that play?
Yeah.
Like, he had his man open deep, and he underthrew him.
Has he thrown a deep ball, like completed a deep ball?
Yeah, do you consider the touchdown to Amari against the Giants on their very first play? A deep ball was 24 yards. It traveled 34 yards in the air. Do you count that?
I guess so.
34 yards, sure.
Yeah, that's good.
They've been, listen, what can you say? I mean, the Browns have to just admit they screwed up.
Yeah, you know what?
That's at this point. That's the problem that every fan is having.
Yeah.
Like you doubling down. Just say you. We all clearly see it's not working. Just say it that it's over.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's done.
Whatever it takes.
Like the Browns fans that I know and I follow, like they're cool with waving the white flag on this Deshaun deal. Like,
it's done.
You got to eat the money, Jimmy. That's cool. We're screwed with the draft picks, but the only way we're going to eventually get better is if we can move on from that, draft a new quarterback, or I'm guessing it's not going to come from free agency.
No, they've talked. People. I've seen some national media members say, well, they should trade Deshaun Watson and give up a first-round pick to get
for
rid
the
of
money.
him. But, like, I don't think they should do that.
Who's doing that?
Right. I heard, how about this? I think it was Chris Canty on Fox.
No,
Remember Chris Canty?
He's on ESPN.
Yeah.
Maybe it was Chris. I don't know if it was Chris Canty. I think it was him, but I'm not sure.
There's two guys on ESPN
the
first round
that I, for some reason, consider to be, because they both do like similar things, first take, fill in.
Yeah.
It's Canny, and then there's the other guy who was another giant.
Swagoot, no.
Not Marcus Spears. You know what I'm talking about?
Giant?
No, sorry, a Jet. Bart Scott.
the offensive lineman.
Bart Scott.
Bart Scott. Yeah, I find him annoying. I don't like him at all. But he says all kinds of dumb shit all the time. But anyway,
Can't wait.
Whoever it was, I think it was Candy, said the Browns they were talking about, the Lions calling the Browns about Myles Garrett. And Chris Canty, and the guy who was talking about this, whoever was working with him.
Was this Woody? Damian Woody?
No.
Because he had a take on the Browns the other day, too.
Oh, yeah, he was killing them, right?
Oh,
yeah. But this guy, whoever was partnering with Canty, said,
trade Myles Garrett.
well, the Browns should trade Myles Garrett to the Lions for like 2 first-round picks or whatever it was. And Canty goes, no. They should trade Myles Garrett to the Lions, but force the Lions to take Deshaun Watson in the trade, and then they get nothing in return.
So you get Myles Garrett and Deshaun Watson.
Essentially for a 7th-round pick. And I was like...
It's a fascinating conversation.
It is, but like ultimately...
if
you're going to turn it around, you can't be giving up Myles Garrett for nothing. Even if it means... What they have to do, I think, is... just tell Deshaun Watson, don't show up. And this way it doesn't kill their cap.
Just send him home. Like,
That's what you got to do.
You're
but
dismissed.
you can't start giving up draft picks to get rid of them, because then how do you rebuild with that?
No, you can't have him in the locker room.
Right now they'd have the first pick in the draft. First pick.
And my thing with that still to this day is, do you trust them to get it right?
No.
So what's the point?
Do you trust Andrew Berry to get that right?
Do you think you trust him to get the quarterback right?
The problem is, it's like, what are you supposed to do? You want to start becoming a fan for another team?
No, you can't. You have
that's
to.
not happening.
Fair point.
So you're screwed. You're like, we can't. We're not going to get it right. Well, then what are you going to do?
That's fair.
Stop watching
football? Yeah, we've said that before. Should they fire Andrew Berry? I said yesterday they should.
Just find a.
Listen, let me tell you this again. I am not a fan of saying people should get fired, because I don't know how people bounce back from being fired. So that I'm never going to sit here and say they should fire such and such. Like, I'm not going. I don't.
Bro,
do that.
last year, the run with Flacco at the end of the year, I watched most of those games with Browns fans, friends of mine, whatever. They had so much fun. The games were fun.
Yeah.
When the game was over, you felt so good about everything. You're like, we won a game. And now, like, I did this little tailgate thing on Sunday with some Browns fans, and like, it was just absolute misery.
Yeah.
Painful, like torture.
Right.
And so, like, you remember, even last year, like, you didn't think you were probably going to win the Super Bowl.
No.
We were going to the playoffs, but, like, you still didn't really think that. It didn't matter. Now, you've got nothing. Nothing. No chance to win this year.
No.
It's over. Season's over.
Yeah, the season's over at 1.
Pack it up.
Mary Kay Cabot is with us from Cleveland.com.
And we're going to bring her in after a quick word from FanDuel. Hey, NFL fans, you can start the season with a big return on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. You'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed just by placing a $5 bet. That's at FanDuel.com/UCSS. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. And we are thrilled to welcome in Mary Kay Cabot of Cleveland.com. Mary Kay, I want to ask the first question today. Bull, I'm sorry to steal your thunder, but we got to ask this one in particular.
Yeah.
Nick Chubb on pace to play. Is all indications still pointing to Nick Chubb making his season debut against the Bengals this Sunday at home?
Yes, absolutely. Nick Chubb is going to play in this game, and I think it'll be a great way to start out this game with him running out of that tunnel and giving everyone a lift. Hopefully that won't be the high point of the day for the Browns and for Browns fans, but he will give this team a lift, and I think, I see them going back towards more of the traditional running game, Kevin Stefanski type of offense, and he might be a big part of this game plan. He looks really good in practice. The defenders have been raving about him, And, he's not going to save the season necessarily, but I do think he can provide a tremendous boost on Sunday.
Yeah, that will be great. Personally, I think an extra boost would be starting Jameis Winston, but obviously that's not going to happen. Mary Kay, you asked Kevin specifically yesterday, and kudos to you for asking it. Is Jimmy Haslam essentially pulling your strings when it comes to Deshaun Watson? What did you think of his answer?
Well, he said, and I do see this happening all the time, he said that he talks these things over with Andrew Berry, he talks them over with Jimmy Haslam, but he has jurisdiction over football decisions. And I believe him. I really do believe him. I know nobody else really seems to believe him on this, but I don't think you're going to take the 2-time NFL Coach of the Year and force him to play a quarterback that he doesn't want to play. Why would you do that? If Kevin Stefanski thought that Jameis Winston would give them a better chance to win the football game and that they could fix the majority of the problems by starting Jameis Winston, then I really do believe in my heart of hearts that Kevin would do that. I think that he recognizes the problems are systemic. I mean, one of the big things going on this offense right now, the new system is an abject failure. It's not working at all, okay? It's just not. It's time to go back to things that they know that they can do well, run the football, go jumbo if you have to. There are a lot of things going wrong with this offense, but I don't think that Kevin believes that Jameis Winston is the fix. And I tend to agree with him right now. I have a lot of reasons why I don't think that they should bench Deshaun. We've gone over some of these before. Another one of those major reasons is because I think you have to know what you have in him. You can't get to the end point of this season, 3, 4, 5 games left, and have no idea what you're doing at quarterback next year. You need to know. I don't think he's ready for the scrap heap just yet.
I tend to agree with you because the season's over. There's no you can't save this season at all. The Browns are not making the playoffs, so why not just play Deshaun and see what he has? If somehow you find lightning in a bottle, he develops confidence overnight, whatever, great. Okay. If not, you got the number 1 pick in the draft.
That's true.
So there's that. But with that being said, Mary Kay, you said the offense needs to go back to what they did when Chubb was healthy in basically last year's offense when you had like 9 quarterbacks. My question is, can Deshaun effectively run that offense?
I think he can run it better than whatever the heck is going on out there right now. It's so bad right now that, again, I don't know that anybody can run it. Because let's just take the choice routes, for instance, okay? The choice routes are, you have to be on the same page, your quarterback and your receiver. Sometimes when we look out there and we see that the ball is way off, these could possibly be some of those choice routes where they're not on the same page with those. So those have to go for now. Those are not working. They didn't have enough time to rep it. They only practiced together once in training camp that I could see the whole entire offense. And they're not ready to run these kind of routes and this kind of an offense. Even the RPO stuff, none of it is working. So they need to go back to things that they know that they can do well enough to move the football and maybe win some football games. That's what they have to do. And they have to find out, and I do believe this, they have to figure out, is their $230 million man completely ready to be thrown overboard, chucked onto the scrap heap, and you're saying, we're done, we're finished, we're going to go out, and we're going to draft a quarterback, we're going to sign one, we're going to eat all this money. You have to be ready to make that decision. I don't think Jameis is going to be able to come in here and go 8-3 and get the Browns into the playoffs.
Mary Kay, let's say if the season is over,
there's no if.
They're not going 10-2.
Can I ask the question, please?
Yeah, if you phrase it different.
Listen.
10-1.
Let's say if the season is over and it's a disaster. Say the Browns don't win another game. Can I stop? Don't make me laugh.
Yeah, sorry.
Do you think there's fear that guys like Myles Garrett or Denzel Ward may want out or demand a trade because they don't want to go through another rebuild or a rookie quarterback and all of those things?
They might. I mean, you never know what might happen in that scenario. Some of those guys might want to go somewhere where they can win. I think there will be plenty of change. If they get to November 5th and they've lost a number of games between now and then, more games, and they are absolutely 100% out of it, have no chance, then I think you will see Amari Cooper get traded. I think you will see maybe some other guys get traded because they're going to need to restock. But what they need to know is, do they need to go out and get another quarterback? They might be close to answering that already, but you want to be sure. And here's another reason why. At one point, Sam Darnold was ready for the scrap heap. Baker Mayfield was ready for the scrap heap. Jared Goff was ready for that scrap heap. Geno Smith was ready for the scrap heap. And somehow all of these guys have found a way back to playing winning football. Now, can that happen for Deshaun Watson? We don't know that yet. Maybe he is stick a fork in him finished. Maybe he is that. But I don't think they're there yet because I see so many things going wrong with this offense right now, including the fact that their number one receiver has been at times more of a liability than an asset to this football team. It's puzzling and it's weird, but he hasn't been what the Browns need him to be to this point. And they also haven't had David Njoku. If you take away Mike Evans and Chris Godwin from Baker Mayfield right now, he's not the Baker Mayfield that has thrown 15 touchdown passes and only 5 interceptions. You need guys making plays for you. And so that needs to help. The other thing I just wanted to bring up real quick is the fact that in the second half of that football game, in Philadelphia, Deshaun did what you want your starting quarterback to do. He went 11 of 12 for 122 yards, got the team down to the 3 with a chance to win the game. That's what you want your quarterback to do, even if he totally sucked in the first half of the game. And he did. We saw that he missed open guys. We saw all those things. We all saw those things. But when push comes to shove, you want your quarterback to put you in position to win the football game at the end. He did that, but there are so many problems right now on this offensive line, on this court, and with this scheme. It's just really, really hard to know. But yes, I do think that you'll see a lot of change if they keep losing.
Mary Kay, respectfully, I understand what you're saying about, like, there are other problems. I get it. There are other problems. There's no doubt. It's not all on Deshaun. But there are other teams with other problems that are not, and their quarterbacks are not playing this bad. Like, if you look at some of the analytics, statistics on him, he's with the all-time, like, he's with the all-time worst quarterbacks, like Jamarcus Russell. And, like, I get it. You know, but 3 years ago, Joe Burrow had the worst offensive line in the league and went to the Super Bowl. The talent around him, yes, it's declined on the offensive line. But I know Amari Cooper's not playing great either, but he's been here. Like Jerry Jeudy, I don't love Jerry Jeudy, but he's a serviceable NFL wide receiver. I don't buy this. He has no talent around him. And you're right when you compare, like those other quarterbacks that you mentioned, Baker, Darnold, Geno, and Jared Goff. I think, to me, Jared Goff's a little different because he didn't play poorly for as long as those other guys did, or Deshaun has. But those other 3 guys, yeah, you're right. They all played poorly for a while. But the difference is those guys all had to go somewhere else to turn it around. They didn't turn it around where they were. So, like, maybe Deshaun can turn it around, although I doubt it because I think if the Browns move on from him, I don't know that anybody else is going to ever sign him again. But those guys all had to go somewhere else to turn it around. So,
yeah, I don't know if it's going to happen here. I really don't know if it's going to happen here. The point about Joe Burrow, I will say, at that time, he had Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Tyler Boyd. So when you have a supporting cast like that, it's a lot easier to throw touchdown passes and to move the football. And right now, I don't think Deshaun has the supporting cast. Now, some of it's his fault. I would give 25% to Deshaun, 25% of it to offensive line woes, 25% of it to maybe play calling, and 25% of it to, well, I've got to give some of it to players not making plays the way that they need them to. They lead the league in drop passes. Amari has 9 drop passes this season. You need guys out there. I mean, we can't, go grab Mike Evans and Chris Godwin and throw them in this offense and see if it would help. But I think that if the Browns had more guys making some plays, that would help, or getting open, that would help, especially your number one receiver, who I think we can all agree has not been himself. I'm not absolving Deshaun of blame from this season. He's done a lot of poor things. He's pressing. He's trying too hard. He's trying to make things happen when they're not there. He's running into sacks. Some of these sacks are his fault. We know that. A lot of them are probably his fault. But I don't think the fix is in trying Jameis Winston. I think what they need to do is see if you can salvage anything out of Deshaun Watson, even for purposes of maybe trading him to another team if you had to. And of course, you're going to have to eat the contract. But if you want to get him out, you have to show somebody that maybe he does still have some value or some merit.
Mary Kay, I want to ask you about the defensive side of the ball, particularly in the secondary, because it's, to see where they were last year, to see where they're at now, what have you seen that's just completely gone wrong, with Martin Emerson, Denzel's not being able to stay on the field, and G. New, giving up on a play at the end, to Devontae Smith. What has gone wrong with these guys?
Well, let's start with Martin Emerson Jr. I really believed that Martin was going to step up into a Pro Bowl caliber season this year and really just be kind of lights out. And that hasn't happened yet. He really hasn't been himself. And then Denzel has been injured. That hasn't helped. Miles is off to a great start. JOK is off to a great start. They need more pressure up front. They need more guys giving a spark and making those plays. But maybe they need to play a little bit differently in the back end. Maybe you can't be exposing all of these guys to so much man coverage right now. Maybe you need to dial that back and mix in a little bit more zone, because these guys are getting exposed and teams are going to continue to go after them. Now, Denzel, he had a hamstring injury this game, so you can't necessarily throw him out there on A.J. Brown for every single sprint downfield, because that's probably not going to work for you. So you have to use Martin in some of those situations, and you have to use Greg in some of those situations. But maybe you have to go zone. They were without their 3 top safeties in this game too. So that's another thing. They just haven't had the manpower back there. If they get some of these guys back healthy, they should be better, but I think they need to tweak the scheme some.
Mary Kay, thanks. We appreciate the time as always. It's going to be fascinating to see how things go from here. This week's interesting because the Bengals, until last week, had played very poor defensively and very well offensively. This past week against the Giants, it was the opposite. The offense didn't play well. The defense did play well. And we know that Kevin Stefanski's had great success against the Bengals and against Joe Burrow. We'll see how it plays itself out. It's going to be a fascinating game.
It really will be.
Yeah. Thanks, Mary Kay. We'll talk to you next week.
Thank you, guys.
There's Mary Kay Cabot. We'll talk with Aditi later. Go ahead.
Let me get a read in here, then we'll figure out how to fill the next 15 minutes before we bring in Aditi.
There's no fill.
By the way,
fill.
We fill
sound
everything.
Like we're grasping at straws.
We fill 2 hours. It's just the word I use. We have content for days.
I don't like it either.
It's a bad job.
You don't like the word fill.
Phil's bad.
We need more.
Why does it feel bad?
Phil sounds like, well, we have to come up with something to talk about.
It's like saying, oh man, we got to kill some time.
Right.
Listen, you just sent me a topic, Bull. We had a topic planned.
Yeah,
I got Aditi. Aditi's calling the Browns-Bengals game this week, or she's on the call. Well, we'll figure that out after we tell you guys why Prize Picks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. It is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Unlike other apps, Prize Picks, it's just you against the numbers. All you do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. Prize Picks puts their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure when your picks hit. You can get your money back in as quick as 15 minutes. Download the Prize Picks app today and use promo code LOCKEDONNFL and get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's code LOCKEDONNFL on Prize Picks to get $50 instantly when you play 5. And you don't even have to win to receive the bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks, run your game when you want. All right, Bull, you just texted me. You want to do, the Browns franchise in worse shape than any other franchise? Is that in the NFL? Is that in Cleveland?
Think about this. It felt like the Browns were in a good place last year, right? Like as a franchise. Even though Watson looked like a mess, overall it felt like the franchise was in a
because the
decent
roster was so good, they made the playoffs,
Yeah.
and they didn't have Deshaun playing because he was hurt.
Right.
I think it was very easy to say, hey, this roster's awesome.
Yeah.
All you had to do is plug and play. A really good quarterback, and this team will be a Super Bowl team.
Right.
That was what we thought.
Yes, but now you could argue that the Browns are in worse shape than any team in the NFL. Because at least the other crappy teams like New England and Carolina. Jacksonville. Well, Jacksonville's kind of in the same boat as the Browns. Because they're paying a lot of money to a quarterback you don't know if he's any good. But, at least Carolina and New England are not – they're starting over. It looks like Carolina's going to have to start over again with another quarterback. Drake May we don't know about yet. He's played 1 game. And the Browns are in a situation where most of their key players are getting older. And they have, I think it's clear, Mary Kay was saying, well, you got to find out for sure about the quarterback, and she's right. Things could turn around, and she brought up some examples, and that's true. But I think most of us believe that Watson's done. And if Watson's done, then it's going to take some time for the Browns to turn this around. That's just a reality, unless they get lucky in the draft and get the next Jaden Daniels or C.J. Stroud.
Right.
If they do that, yeah, you'll turn it around in a hurry. But right now, the Browns are, you got Bitonio looks like he's almost at the end. Wyatt Teller's coming off another big injury. He's getting close to 30. Nick Chubb's in the final year of his deal. Amari Cooper's in the final year of his deal. Myles Garrett's still got a few good years left, but is he going to want to stay and do another rebuild? He may force his way out of here. Denzel Ward gets hurt every week, it seems like. I mean, a lot of their key players are either injury prone or getting old. And so by the time you get this new quarterback and kind of get going again, what's the roster going to look like? Because there's a lot of cap space being used on a lot of older players, contracts to Conklin, contracts to Jerry Jeudy that are not necessarily very good.
I think we said this when the Browns got Deshaun. I mean, it was going to be a boom or bust deal.
Right.
Because
Yes.
a move like that gives up that many picks, guys,
Yeah.
we know it's going to set your franchise back years.
Right.
Okay, and the money as well, more so the picks, I think, than the cash. But, I just think now they're not going to be good for, 5 years.
Unless they get lucky with a quarterback in the draft.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. I
That's
mean,
it.
if they pick the right guy, if
But-
Quinn Ewers or whoever the top
Right.
quarterback is
But
coming out.
I also say, with that being said, it's their own fault.
Of course it's their own fault.
Even if it was, and it's not all on the Deshaun contract. This is where when you miss on draft picks, that's
Yes.
when it really starts.
Right.
Because the guys that you were supposed to get, guys that you were going to develop that could come in, maybe make an impact, but would take over essentially when those other guys got older.
right.
When they got older, we're good. They done groomed up the younger guy. That guy's making
That's what
plays.
the good teams do.
Boom. And when you look at the draft classes and you look at what you got out of those draft classes, they're not developed and not manifesting into what you thought they would be. So now you're going out to spend money on other stuff than being able to stay under the cap and do all the things that you want because you got them on rookie deals.
I mean, the Browns have used, in the last, 10 years, they've used 2 of their top picks on quarterbacks. They've given away, 3 first-round picks for Deshaun? Was that what it was, 3?
Yep.
Okay, so 3 for him, plus him in his contract. They've had 3 horrendous decisions, and then the third horrendous decision, which was Deshaun, cost you 3 more horrendous decisions because you couldn't even pick a quarterback.
Well, look at the draft record of Andrew Berry here. So his first draft was 2021, took Greg Newsome in the first round. All right, Greg Newsome's a decent player, but
A solid nickel.
second round pick, JOK, great pick.
Great pick.
Probably his best pick, right? Third round, Anthony Schwartz, garbage. Fourth round, James Hudson, Tommy Togiai, both terrible. And nothing with their late picks at all.
Was he not there for the 2020 draft with Jed?
2020 was COVID year.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm sorry, yeah. So he took Jed in the first round, bad pick. Well, that's a bad pick. Grant Delpit in the second round, solid pick. Rest of the picks that year, Jordan Elliott, Jacob Phillips, Harrison Bryant, Nick Harris, DPJ, all pretty much useless. Then in 2022, Martin Emerson in the third round. He hasn't been as good this year, but still for a third-round pick. I think he did fine with his two first.
You got a starter in the third round.
Yeah,
so.
and he got Alex Wright in the third round. That's a decent pick, too. Rest of the draft, Perion Winfrey, a waste. Cade York, a waste. Jerome Ford, actually a good pick in the fifth round. That's not a terrible draft, considering they didn't have a first and second round pick. 2023, they traded their second round pick for Elijah Moore in the third round pick. Elijah Moore's a 0.
Yeah,
Their third round
I had a
pick
buddy
is
ask
Cedric
me if he's still on the team.
Yeah. So you traded a second round pick for Elijah Moore and Cedric Tillman. How'd that work out? Now, I don't know who you would have taken in the second round, but you could have gotten Tank Dell in the second round. The rest of their draft last year, Aki Ika, DeJuan Jones, Isaiah McGuire, DTR, Luke Whippler, Cam Mitchell.
Sounds like to me that the Browns took the Rams route, where they was like, we're
Right.
gonna get
F
this.
them picks?
Yeah, we're gonna get the established player.
Yeah.
And they missed on that too.
Right.
And sometimes it works out. It worked out for the Rams.
They
They won a Super
They
Bowl.
won a Super Bowl. They
And sometimes
bounced
it
back
doesn't.
again last year, although they've gone backwards this year because now Stafford kind of starting to feel like he's pretty much at the end.
Well,
and they've had a lot of
He was on the
injuries.
pregame show. There's a reason why he's
he's
kind of
and they've
sailing
got a
off
ton
into
of
the sunset
injuries.
here.
Puka Nakua's hurt, and Cooper
Kupp's
Kupp's
hurt.
been hurt. So, yeah, he does seem to be riding into the sunset.
As we're reading through that real
Yeah.
quick. So going back to the 2020 draft, so 5 drafts now.
Yeah.
If everyone's healthy, Jed Wills is the only starter on offense from 5 drafts. Am I looking at that correctly?
And Martin Emerson.
Offensive starter.
Oh, offense.
Consider Ford a starter right now.
Ford.
I guess,
Probably won't be
but
anymore.
Chubb is really the starter.
That's a shame.
Yeah.
One offensive starter in 5 drafts.
The only
Depressing.
the best pick is JOK by far.
Not even close.
Emerson, good solid pick.
Delpit solid for a second round.
Delpit solid, Newsome okay. I actually think Jerome Ford in the 5th round is a decent
That's a
pick,
steal.
You
Come
know. And Cam Mitchell in the 5th
That's not a
round
bad
is a
pick.
decent pick also. But that's about it. I mean, and he's lost some higher picks because they've traded down. The year they had 3 third-round picks, they traded out of the 2nd round. The following year, they traded out of the 2nd round for Elijah Moore. And obviously the Watson
They
trade,
got
which were all
DeJuan
bad.
Jones in the
Adam, I truly believe
Yeah.
that you, as with your fantasy football knowledge and
Yeah.
your football knowledge, could
Yes.
run a better organization.
100%.
I believe that.
There's no
And
doubt about it.
and when I say that, I mean
Yeah.
obviously I'm giving you credit.
Yeah, thank you.
But I honestly believe that most people off the streets that are sort of football fans and
Yeah.
run fantasy football teams could run this organization just by throwing darts.
Yeah.
You couldn't do worse.
If you drafted based on
Best available.
you bet like
Mel
best available for Mel
Kiper, what do you got? Okay,
Yeah.
you pick 93. Okay,
Yeah.
we got the bet. We need a receiver, so we'll
Yeah.
take that guy.
Yeah.
Just do that.
You would be just especially
You
if
can't
you
be
go,
worse.
Especially if you go longer, like the last 15 years.
Oh,
or
my
whatever.
God.
I mean, they have so many bad. Think about that stretch of all those terrible 1st-round picks.
Adam, when
But-
they look at Mel Kiper's best available and they say, who's the worst available?
But let me ask you.
Let's take him.
No, because let me.
We got last there, Mel.
We'll take the last. Oh, we need a DB. Okay,
Y'all- listen.
let's take the last guy.
Y'all being funny.
Hard sleeper.
Y'all being funny, but
Yeah.
y'all gotta also admit this too.
Yeah.
What do you have to say about the development?
Oh, it's not good
Because
either.
the talent.
Well, they
if
fire the coach
when they-
every 2 years.
When they
Yeah, right.
when they took
true.
him, that means that the talent said that he was talented enough to be there.
According,
yeah, I'm
based
just
on their-
saying.
yeah, right.
So if that's the case, why is it? It's not that he ain't talented. Why is he not developed? What's going on in that situation?
Well, the only thing I
And
would
that-
argue-
that's the question that I want
I
to
guess
know.
the argument would be, have any of these players that they've drafted somewhat high gone somewhere else and had success?
Like who?
Well,
No, they haven't. Outside of Baker.
Baker.
Baker has.
that's sort of the
I mean,
most
that's the
important
only.
one.
That's
Yeah. But he, and, so like, you could argue they didn't, I can't, and listen, again, I love Stefanski, and I would not fire him even though I think he's doing an absolutely awful job this year. But I've heard for a while, well, Baker had his best year with Stefanski. Well, no,
Not
that's
anymore.
not true. Now, this season's got a long way to go, but right now Baker's having his best season. And last year he was better than he ever was with the Browns. And I believe, and we'll never know for sure, I don't think Baker would have ever been this good if he had stayed here.
I totally
think he
agree with
needed
you.
to be
I agree
humbled,
with you.
right?
Totally agree. Well, it's not even just that. Like I
Oh, it's just the Browns' dysfunction?
Yeah, I really do think it's going to be hard for this organization to ever have success as long as they're owned by the Haslams. Wow. I truly believe that.
The only thing I'd say to that is,
Say what?
in a
Say what?
different way, is that Mike Brown is a terrible owner. And I know the Bengals haven't won a Super Bowl, but they've been a pretty good team overall with Joe Burrow. Right? Baker Mayfield's good. He's been good, but he's not Joe Burrow. So it really is going to take a quarterback of that level to rise above Jimmy Haslam.
Adam, the Bengals have drafted excellent quarterbacks.
They've
had 2 coaches in the last 20 years.
Yeah. I would argue that they should fire
So
Zach
as bad
Taylor,
as
but-
the owner, is,
There's at least stability.
there's some patience.
That's true. That's true. Maybe too much patience, but better
fine.
too much than not enough.
I'd rather have more patience and
Yes.
go to a Super Bowl.
That's fair.
Can
That's
I ask
fair.
a question? What
Yeah.
is, What is Kevin Stefanski's track record? 2020 was good. 21 was terrible. 2022 was good. 23 was good. So he's every
No,
other.
2022 wasn't good.
Was it not?
I mean, it was what they finished.
It was average. That was the year Deshaun was suspended the first 11
Yeah, I mean,
games.
they were,
they were mediocre. Like they were average.
I wouldn't call it good.
And then
I mean, overall, his record is barely over 500 since coming to the Browns.
Wow.
He's 38 and 35.
To me, it seems like the season is falling in line.
Do you think Browns are going to beat the Bengals because of their track record? Like, there is something to this because there have been better Bengal teams than this that have come to play the Browns and gotten their door. Like, the Browns have really kicked the Bengals' ass quite a bit under Kevin Stefanski.
And Burrow's had struggles against the Browns for some reason. Maybe it's Myles Garrett. I don't know. Like whenever he plays the Browns, he looks off. He does not look like himself. Like, and what's funny too.
He's had a couple of good games, but not consistently.
And for the most part, it feels like he comes off like a big performance the week before, and then we expect him to go off against the Browns, and the Browns shut him down.
Although this is the opposite because he didn't have a big performance last week. There was that one game. Remember, he and Baker went back and forth. They both threw for over 300 yards that one game. I think the Browns ended up winning, if I remember correctly.
Was that the one in Cincy?
I can't remember now. I think it was like 38-35 was the final.
Is that the one
score.
when Peoples-Jones had the great catch late?
I think that's
it. He was in Cincy.
That was when Odell got hurt.
I think the Bengals scored to take the lead with
and
like
then
a
Baker
minute
went
left.
down to DPJ.
Yeah, that was like one of the only
awesome
times
game.
Baker won
Awesome
at the
game.
end. Yeah,
Awesome
that was a
game.
great game. But yeah, so I mean, for whatever reason, Stefanski's had.
I tell you what, if they don't come out and play well, it's telling. Like
you lose a divisional game at home, they're going to be booing and fans will leave. Fans will leave.
If it looks as bad as it's been looking, like they.
I actually think as bad as the Bengals started 1-4, I think if they beat the Browns this week, they will make the playoffs. That's my prediction. I don't know if that's
the weather's actually going to be awesome on Sunday.
Oh, it's going to be perfect. We got our championship baseball game that morning.
Nice.
I win my second championship in 2 weeks. As if I'm playing.
Yeah, I mean, take the credit.
Go ahead, Mike.
All right, so I just talked to Aditi.
Yeah.
She is running late on her production call with the Bengals Browns. So we're going to move Aditi to Thursday.
Okay.
So we can get the full, because she's on the call. She has some legit insight into this game.
Yeah.
So instead of coming on for just 5-10 minutes, let's make sure we get the real.
Well, let me get back. Do the read, and I just want to get back, because these guys never really answered the question whether they think the Browns are in. Do you guys? Well, let's just answer it now.
Yeah, do that. Then we're going to talk Guardians to wrap up the show.
Do you guys think the Browns organization isn't? Would you rather be, the Browns over any other organization right now? Like, what organization is in the worst shape? Is it the Browns bottom, or you think Jacksonville's in the worst shape?
No, I think the Browns are.
I
think the Browns are worse.
You think Trevor Lawrence? You still think he could turn it around?
Yeah.
What has happened with that guy? Why is he not?
They
good?
dropped 4 touchdowns in the game on Sunday, which it has to be pointed out. Like 4 legit touchdowns that were just dropped.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah, it was bad. I can send you the video.
Yeah, I mean,
as someone who watches
he was
for
really
fantasy
bad
implications.
in the Buffalo game. That was a national TV game. I don't think people have seen him play a ton.
I haven't this year.
Yeah, I haven't really either. I mean, I just looked at I'm like the Jacksonville Jaguars are losing, and I thought that they'd be a surprise team.
Right.
Because they were pretty good last year. I don't know. But the answer is I have more faith in Trevor Lawrence. Yes.
Yes. What about Carolina? What about New England? Are those places in worse shape? And they, those are. You got a bad owner.
Well, I think
I was going to say Tepper's a big factor in that.
Tepper's also a big bad owner.
He's kind of a
Carolina, but Carolina is their cap money is good, right? Like they're not like.
I assume so. I mean, who are they paying a lot of money?
They're paying nobody.
Yeah, because they just traded Brian Burns. He would have been the guy that would do that.
Yeah, man, he played well against the Bengals.
They got to hit on they got to hit on draft picks, or they gonna have to pay somebody a ton of money.
Yeah,
that's the only 2 options.
What's gonna happen? What is? Listen.
I don't see them being.
He's got to do it for more than 5 games, obviously. But if let's say Sam Darnold plays the whole season like he's played so far, is he gonna get a big contract at the end of the year?
They can't.
Or the Vikings keep him and they do a Aaron Rodgers deal, have McCarthy be the backup for a while. Which is
McCarthy's
fine.
hurt, so.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying, like, he was a first-round pick, but, like, it doesn't matter. Like, if you've got a quarterback that's winning games and also was a top pick, just needed maybe a different change of scene, right? And that has happened multiple times recently.
If I'm Sam Darnold, I would stay with the Vikings.
For sure.
Because
Jefferson.
Well,
because
O'Connell is
that's why
he's fit
that's the point.
Yeah,
like I finally got a coach that we connect.
I get what you guys are saying, but you're thinking it as older, you played already, and you're not thinking it as like this is his first chance to break the bank. If some other team offers him a ton of money, he's going to take it, whether he should or not.
Oh, yeah, but I think the Vikings will consider matching it. Again, it depends on how the season
you don't know that J.J. McCarthy can play in the NFL.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, he was decent in the preseason, but we know that don't mean nothing.
Yeah.
You'd rather, I know it's easy to say now because one's been a lot better than the other so far, but Jaden Daniels definitely better career than Caleb Williams. You're not ready to say that.
I'm not ready to say that.
Both have had their moments.
Yeah. I said Caleb looked good last week.
Who'd you rather have right now going forward?
Jaden. But he's had a better 7 games.
Yeah. It's amazing. Like when you get that special young
Caleb he threw 4 touchdowns on Sunday.
I know. He looked good. That's what I'm saying.
Just look at the Texans. It's so funny because 2 years ago the Texans were a disaster. And then you get C.J. Stroud.
Go Bucks.
He breaks the curse.
A phenomenal
Buckeye
coach.
quarterbacks.
Phenomenal coach.
Speaking of, they're looking into the 12 men on the field rule now. NCAA is.
If I hear any more whining from Ohio State fans.
I didn't mind one bit.
I didn't mind one bit either.
All I know is once again that gutless Ryan Day lost another big game.
You think we're gonna just kill Ryan Day?
It was a good attempt, Bo. Let me get a read in so we can knock that last one out.
Yeah.
Guys, if you're looking to get a ticket
right.
to the Guardians playoff games, they're home Thursday and Friday,
Yeah.
a Cavs game, a Browns game. Probably get them for pretty cheap. You get them even cheaper if you use Game Time and Game Time Picks because it is a new feature on the Game Time app that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only the best deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time Picks. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use promo code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Once again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's game time. But let's go back to the Guardians real quick. Who is your X factor tonight for the Cleveland Guardians if they are going to beat the New York Yankees?
Don't even ask me.
Tyvis is going to say John Kenzie Noel.
Go ahead.
Let's move out of here.
John Kenzie's not going to play today.
He ain't, is he?
No. It's going to be Manzardo's going to DH.
That's my.
And Will Brennan's going to play right.
Well, I'm going Manzardo.
Okay, Manzardo. I like that one. He's
Manzardo, man. He looks like a Yankee.
With the mustache,
yeah.
Their catcher, Austin Wells, has that mustache.
His stash is better.
It is on point.
What
do you like better,
awesome.
his or Jake Rogers of the Tigers?
None of them.
Rogers is good.
None of them. I'm not a fan of the big bushy sheriff.
Pause.
You're not white.
Very true.
I mean, you wouldn't look good with a mustache. You look great with the beard.
Yeah, if I ever.
Are you saying black guys have a harder time pulling off the mustache?
I think so.
I don't disagree with that.
White guys can't be bald.
How often have you seen a white guy look good bald?
Rare.
Almost never.
Yeah.
Stone
Cold Steve Austin.
A black guy look bad bald. Like black guys look good bald.
They're great.
Like 95% of black guys look good bald.
Some funny looking.
99% of white guys look terrible. I'm trying to think of a white guy that looks decent bald.
For the most part, black guys can pull off way more than white guys can.
Yes, that's true. Do you agree with that, Tyvis?
Well, of course he's going to say that.
Why would I disagree with that?
Yeah.
Remember when Jordan used to have the little crustache?
Michael? Yeah.
I don't remember that.
He did, for sure.
Yeah.
It's like
it's just a little crustache.
But it was like, it's like he shaved it down.
It was like the one kid in 7th grade who could grow a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like a little
the
shadow.
School picture.
Little shadow.
Wearing the sweater.
Yeah.
Yeah, that.
Anyway, sorry to derail the conversation.
No,
I forgot what we was even talking about.
Talking about the
Kyle Manzardo. Yes, Kyle Manzardo.
I'll go with you, Kyle Manzardo. Who you going with, Dustin?
Jose Ramirez.
Well,
obvious reasons.
Why not Josh Naylor?
I don't know, man. Naylor, I can't get behind it. I can't. Dude,
does he get a contract?
I had a conversation last night with my friends about Naylor. Is he an athlete or not? And I said he is.
He is. Yeah.
He is. He could be a better athlete.
He's not as fat as he looks. He wears very baggy, but he's listen. He's chubby. He's chubby.
Do you want to see him in skivvies?
No.
Okay.
But like he did on that wild pickoff throw by Cobb, he made a nice play on that.
I said he's an athlete.
Yeah.
I think that if he took his body more serious,
that's
I think he'd be a better player.
Bull, you're an athlete.
Well, let's not get crazy.
Listen, Bull, I watched Jay Crawford rip a ball down first, and you said, And after that was bad.
Then it was
But
ugly.
the fact that
Then
you
you had
had
to help me up
the
after
fact
that.
that you had the instincts to get in front of it was perfect.
I have the slim, nothing much slim about me, but I have a tiny bit of athlete still left down deep.
Now
in me,
Jason
but
Lloyd
it's covered in a lot
is
of fat,
gone.
unfortunately.
Jason, let it go.
Thank you, Tyler, for saying I'm a better athlete than Jason Lloyd. I appreciate that.
You sure about that?
Jason.
I was better at
Jason
baseball.
had
That's off at the,
he had a rough
couple of
day.
softball games. Jason made like 8 errors.
Man, is Lloyd's packing it in, huh? On the athleticism at his age?
Yeah, I don't know. He's a mess.
He's younger than you, isn't he?
He's
Not
hurting
by
right
much,
now.
though, is he?
man.
How old is he?
Like 5-6 years, I
What's he,
think.
45?
Something like that. Mid to upper 40s.
He'll be here with Friday. At the ask.
I think I'm going to, by the way,
Assuming he
be
can get
getting
off
in
the
with
couch.
some other guys here because next week
Assuming he
I'm off
can
next
get
week because I got a game on Tuesday.
What do you mean getting with
I
us?
miss seeing
I'm going to have to
Jason.
rotate Tuesday, Wednesdays
Oh, yeah,
around,
yeah,
so I may
right.
get a different panel.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Well,
Tuesday-
yeah, you haven't worked with Jason at all.
I got a Tuesday
Jason's
game.
not on Wednesdays. He's on Friday.
Jason does Monday and Friday.
Yeah. So you still wouldn't see him.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, maybe we go on Friday. Go ahead, Mike. What you want to say?
No, I had nothing.
By the way, let's go back to the Buckeyes for a second.
Sure.
Why do they not blitz? Doesn't it seem like they never blitz?
Did you see the clip that's going viral?
What I say, you guys? With the two guys rushing the back?
Yes.
Before halftime?
Yes.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
What happened? What is that?
I would guess
If I
that
had an
somebody
answer?
busted. I hope somebody busted blew their
the
assignment.
the only answer would be that there were two calls thrown, like that.
two guys- so many guys,
like
yeah.
that there was a miscommunication where the front played a different call than the back end.
Gotcha.
And first off, that is rare for that to happen.
Yeah.
But I've never seen like it. They rushed two guys at him, and they dropped the entire defensive
dropped
line.
9.
And then they played man
to man.
zero on the outside.
Yeah,
And Denzel Burke's a hell of a player, but I don't care if you put Deion Sanders and Denzel Burke in that situation together, vicing the guy, you're not going to stop it.
That is.
They had
bizarre.
dude, Gabriel sat back there and he goes,
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
and it's, dude, it was like 20 seconds to go in the half?
Yeah.
Or under a minute?
You know, the sick thing is, I was
Sick thing is I had the Buckeyes first half money line.
Oh, man.
That's the sick thing.
Why don't they blitz, guys?
So
Why do they not blitz?
that's what this is really about, huh?
Oh, no. It got worse when I doubled down the money line for the game.
Oh, no.
Oh,
I feel
Some calls
And
responsible.
not- Dustin,
And then the
feel
quarterback
responsible.
runs out the clock.
Yeah.
You got to have a feel for the clock there.
Hey, Bo, we got a little bit of breaking news here.
Breaking news.
Steve, let's take tag board full here. It's from a few minutes ago, but Tom Pelissero just tweeted the Steelers are giving Russell Wilson first-team reps in practice this
boy.
week, putting him in line to make his season debut and start Sunday against the Jets. Pittsburgh is 4-2 with Justin Fields, but Wilson's cap is fully healed, and now he gets his
What
shot.
do we think about that? I mean, he hasn't played very well, Justin Fields, but they are 4-2.
So I didn't see the game Sunday against the Raiders.
Yeah.
I didn't see the highlights or anything. So I don't know. Like I saw that they won
Did
pretty
he have
handily.
like 2 running touchdowns?
Yeah.
Didn't Justin run?
Didn't
for
they
one?
score like 30 points? Or like
Something like that.
Yeah.
He
almost
scored
30?
32.
It's a weird decision.
Yeah. I don't know.
I think Russell Wilson is probably a better quarterback than Justin Fields.
I think
but-
for that situation, he
Yeah.
probably manages it better.
Yeah.
I think if you're looking at like upside,
Justin had a.
Fields has the more upside.
All right, that's
for
fair.
sure.
Oh
I'll
yeah,
give you that.
I mean Justin he went 14 for 24, 145 yards, 3 sacks,
And
and
rushing yards?
two rushing touchdowns for 59 yards.
I have no idea, man.
Yeah.
I think that either one of those guys can probably manage that team. So that they're probably going to be in the mix for the playoffs.
They're going to be what they always are lately in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
They're going to be They're going to be a little better than average. They're going to make the playoffs. They're going to lose in the first round. That's what
Most
happens.
likely,
Yeah.
unless one of those quarterbacks can elevate their game
Right.
just enough.
But what's the odds of that? At this
I don't
point in
know.
Russell's
One-
career? Or,
The odds of it are unknown because Russell's a former MVP who's won a Super
Yeah.
Bowl, and the other quarterback's a top pick who has underachieved at this point.
Yeah.
So there's some upside with both.
Go
Do you know
Bucks.
that Mike Tomlin has no coaching tree whatsoever?
What do you mean?
Like guys under him that have went places.
There's not a single assistant coach from his. Not one coach in the NFL was in his.
Well, I think part of that is that organization has so much stability.
Yeah.
And they haven't really brought guys in and let guys. I mean, and
Yeah.
Tomlin sort of runs the ship. I mean, who was the OC there? It was Todd Haley for a while.
Yeah.
Then he left. I mean, he was a veteran coach.
Came here.
Came here, yeah. But I'm
That was a
saying
disaster.
the defensive coordinator was what's his face forever.
Dick LeBeau.
Dick LeBeau was there
yeah, yeah.
forever.
Go Bucks.
And now it's kind of been him since.
Yeah, and then so
And they haven't really had good OCs.
So am I surprised by that? No, he's been a head coach in one place.
Yeah.
One place.
Right. Where was Tomlin before that?
He was the DC in Minnesota with me.
Oh, right. That's right. That's right. All right. Mike, what do you got? You got another read?
No, we're done.
Okay. You want to fill
We
some
can
time,
now
Mike?
we can now technically fill if you guys want to fill. I'll throw you out a random topic.
Okay, go ahead.
Let me pull up my list of
Devontae Adams to the Jets.
the
Yeah.
We
trade
can talk some more
Buckeyes.
Buckeyes if you want. I got thoughts.
All right. Well, you guys still haven't answered my question about why they don't blitz.
Because you know why they don't blitz? Why
Yeah.
I think they don't blitz is because when you look at their schedule and how they play, they really had a ton of success with just rushing 4, which allowed them to do a lot of things in the back end. Yeah. So I think going into this game, they thought, like, our D-line is elite this year. They're really good. These guys have been getting home, and we don't need to send nobody because these guys are supposed to be 5-star athletes, supposed to be at the top of their game, blah, blah, blah. And they went in this game, and that didn't happen. So my big issue is why not adjust?
That's right.
That's the question that I want to know.
Love watching a lefty.
Well, the other thing I have a question about too is Jim Knowles is and I don't know Jim at all. I know he's been a good coach. You know, he was the DC at Oklahoma State for a while, and they had some success.
Yeah, like the number 1 defense.
But they played 5 top 5 opponents since he's been the DC.
And they've given up
close
to 500 yards every time.
So they've given up five times. They've lost all of them, and they've given up it's 1,900 yards. They've given up. Okay.
In the 5 games?
Yes. I mean, it's insane. It's like 500 points they've given up, too.
Says when the talent is matched, when it's an equal talent, our defense does not show up.
Okay, so is it that if it is equal talent? I mean, all right, as I do think the Buckeyes have better talent than who they're playing.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's the case, is it the coaches screwing it up? Are they making it not as simplistic as it needs to be? If you've got, it's college football, guys. Like, it's not like the league, man. Like, it's, you know, guys, it's a little bit different deal. Like, you can play some vanilla stuff. If you got better dudes, you're just going to win the game.
Right.
It's the adjusting part for me that still.
There's no adjustments.
That's my point.
When's their next legit opponent?
Penn State.
When
Is
do
that
they
2
play
weeks?
Penn State?
I don't think Penn State's that good.
They
I would
do.
consider
Oh,
Penn
they
State-
just came back on SC
I don't think SC's
on
that
the
good.
road.
Who was the analyst?
Well, SC just beat SC beat
State.
LSU, and LSU just beat Ole Miss. So I
Penn
don't know
State Saturday, November 2nd, so 2 weeks.
November 2nd. Okay.
Who was? Why can't I think of who the analyst was with Kenny Albert on the Browns game Sunday?
John
Vilma.
Vilma called Franklin. What's Franklin's first name again?
James Franklin.
James Franklin, a great coach.
He's a fraud.
He's a
Not
fraud, right?
Vilma.
They play
Franklin.
Nebraska next
Franklin
week.
is.
I saw someone tweet that Ryan Day is the Michael Jordan of James Franklin's.
I've actually come around
And I
a little
thought that was
bit
hysterical.
more on Franklin because I was way more critical of him in
messed
the
up.
past because he's actually won some bigger games
Yeah.
recently, and the games I've watched, like
Yeah.
I think he's done a better job managing some of the stuff. But like overall, I don't know. I think Drew's a really good quarterback for them, and they haven't really had a great quarterback situation at Penn State. So we'll see what happens with them this year.
What is
Their
softer?
best receiver is they tight end.
What is softer, these chairs or Ryan Day?
These
I don't know that Ryan Day's soft.
these chairs, I would hope.
Boy, I got
Listen, the
one
thing that
super
stinks
chat.
about Ryan Day,
Yeah.
to be Ryan Day, is that you're in a position now where every time you play a top 5 team, the pressure is even bigger
Right.
and bigger and bigger. So it's like it's really tough for him because he's kind of in a tough. Like if he doesn't win well, now we're on to Michigan, right? Especially this year, if you can't beat Michigan, you're done. You're done.
And Michigan's lost what, 2 games?
2.
They're not good this year.
They're not good, dude. They can't.
They can't throw the ball more than 10
Who's the best team in college football right now?
Texas.
Texas.
Yeah, dude. I think
When's
so.
the last time they were
When they wanted
They
it
were in the
with
Final
Vince
Four last
Young
year.
back in the
that
day.
long ago?
Texas is probably the best team.
What's
in the
Vince
country.
Young up to these days?
No idea.
No idea.
Good thing he's not dead because that would have been a weird
No, he's
question.
not dead.
He's not dead.
Boy, I got a super chat that
Yeah.
I'm going to give you an option. I'm going to give you 1 through 3, and you can pick one of 3 random topics I have on my list of topics.
He's one of the most
Or one
morbid
super
guys I
chat.
know.
Definitely.
Our one super chat comes from TBL. The bottom line says,
Yeah.
Deshaun stinks, so it's all his fault. O-line stinks, and the wide receiver room is garbage, but we keep blaming Deshaun. Thanks, guys.
I'm so sick of people.
Wait a minute. Read that again from the first part. Read that.
Deshaun stinks, so it's all his fault. O-line stinks, and the wide receiver room is just garbage, but we keep blaming Deshaun. Thanks, guys.
Well, the next time Joel Bitonio takes a snap from under center, I'll
So
blame
he
him.
starts it off by saying Deshaun stinks?
He's being sarcastic.
He's being a wise guy.
Oh,
I'm so
okay.
sick of these people saying that everybody's saying it's 100%. Of course it's not 100%.
No, I never
Sean.
said, yeah.
It's a lot.
He's not the only reason the offense is a disaster, but the quarterback gets the most credit when it's good, and he gets the most. Is Baker Mayfield the only reason the Bucs offense
Of course not.
is going crazy right now? No, I don't hear the Baker Bros giving credit to everybody else there. No, you give credit to Baker, and he deserves it. He's the quarterback. He's the leader. Deshaun Watson has been historically bad against bad defenses. What else can you say? He is, Mary Kay said 25% of the blame and 25% of the blame. To me, he gets the majority of the blame. You want to give Stefanski a lot? Fine. He deserves a lot of blame, too. Nobody's defending the offensive line. They stink. Wide receiver's not good enough. None of it. Gets Nick Chubb back this week. We'll see if that helps.
Well, I know you always
see Nick
say
Chubb on the field, though.
I know you always say you hate how we have to qualify that. But I think part of the reason a lot of us feel the need to qualify is because if you don't, then people just assume you do it. So even though you're right, none of us are putting all the blame on anybody.
We've crapped on the whole offense a million times. Obviously, it's not 100% his fault, but he's the quarterback. He's going to get the most blame, and he deserves the most blame.
All right, but we have 10 minutes. I put a poll up. Actually, let me read the last super chat first, and then I'll get the poll results because that's going to choose the topic we go.
Good.
This one comes from Silver, who says, Michigan alumni here. Love seeing Ryan Fraud suck. Also, go Guards. Naylor needs to wake the bats up. I got the Guards
to be honest,
4-3
his team cheated their way to a championship.
So we asked the chat.
Now, Ryan Day is a fraud, but so is Michigan. The whole program's a fraud because they cheated.
Fair enough. We asked the chat to pick a random topic. Or I gave them the choice, Browns, Cavs, Guardians. And 48% of this 2-minute poll chose the Guardians. So I'm going to give you the random Guardians topic I have on my list that we could kill the next couple minutes with. And I just used both the words that I know you guys hated.
Yeah.
Here's the topic. If there was a draft of every Major League Baseball player available, currently speaking today, not playoffs, but throughout the entire league.
Yeah.
It was a fantasy draft, and you could choose a guy to start your team with. Does Jose go in the top 10, 20, 30? Is he a first-round pick? Where's the first Guardian?
Factoring in age and contract?
Yeah. You're building a franchise from the beginning.
Age and contract.
Where does the first Guardian go? I say Jose, but maybe it's not Jose.
Are you factoring in contract too, or just age?
In contract, you might go real quick.
Let's just do age because contracts are.
Yeah, because some of the really great players that are young haven't got paid
So
yet.
just age and ability and projecting for the future. For the sake of this, all money's the same.
I mean, that's hard to answer off the top of my head. Would he go in the top 10? Probably not. No, not because. I mean, if you were just drafting for 1 year, yes, he would go in the top 10. He'd be the back end of the top 10. Or between 10 and 15. But if you're drafting just to start a franchise going forward, no, he probably wouldn't even be in the top 20 because how old is he now? 31?
31, I believe. I'll double check.
So and Jose's a great player. I mean,
he's 32.
32.
Jeez,
so at 32, if you're starting a franchise from scratch, no, you're not going to take a 32-year-old in the top 10.
Is he the first Guardian taken?
Quan. By far, Quan.
Big Christmas.
No, I still would. Jose, I would still go first, I think.
Well, okay, if it wasn't Jose, it'd be Quan. Starting a franchise? Dude, every person I've talked to that's not a Guardians fan would give up their left leg for Quan.
Well, of the offensive players, yes, but I think Emmanuel Clase, the guy's the best closer in baseball.
Yeah, but closers are typically good for 2-3 years.
True, but so far he's been historically great in his career. He has the best ERA in the history of baseball for any pitcher with 250 innings.
Listen, I hope he's the next Mariano Rivera.
Right, and if he is, then you take him. So guys in consideration after Jose, Clase, Quan,
Big Christmas.
No, and then
Bazana,
David Fry.
No. Bazana would be lower. No, he's not consideration for the 2 spot.
Kyle Manzardo.
Cade Smith.
Oh, that's a good one.
Tanner Bibee and Gavin Williams would be the next group. Those guys are all young and there's a lot of upside.
Brian Rocchio.
No, even though he's played well. of late. He would not be.
He's playing well in big moments.
He is. That's true.
Isn't that what this game is about?
No doubt. But Jose would not go top 10. Even, I mean, Shohei Ohtani would go first, even though he's, I think, 30 now.
Yeah, he going
because
first.
he can pitch,
Yeah.
and he's the best hitter, or one of the best hitters.
It'd be
and one of the
him,
best
Judge,
yeah, Judge is old too. Judge is 30.
Bobby Witt.
Judge would go a little lower because he's older. And
So you think Bobby
a
Witt
little worried about
second?
his body. Bobby Witt.
Skeens.
What's that?
Skeens is probably a top 2-3.
Ooh,
So-
I forgot about him.
Oh, Bobby Witt would Bobby Witt and Skeen. Bobby Witt would go before Skeens because the assumption is that at some point Skeens is going to have Tommy John surgery. He just throws so hard.
We're talking about who we're building a the ultimate all-star team.
Yeah,
like
I mean
franchise?
Bobby Witt might be the second pick after
Where's
Ohtani.
Scooble going?
Scooble would go top 10.
Gunnar Henderson.
Gunnar Henderson would go top 10.
Ellie De La Cruz. Is he that high?
I don't think he's top 10, no. Top 20.
Mookie Betts.
Yeah, Mookie. How old's Mookie?
He's got to be in his 30s, dude.
Yeah.
Man, he up there like
Although
that.
Judge is 32,
Mookie's 32.
How old is Judge?
30.
Mookie 32.
Aaron Judge also 32.
Wow, I
Juan
didn't realize-
Soto's 25. Soto's a high pick.
Adam,
Yeah, I didn't
Bro.
realize he was that old.
we were on the air when he was a rookie.
We started on air over 13 years ago.
Mookie.
What
and
about,
Aaron Judge.
how old is Ohtani?
Juan Soto's 25.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. I didn't think about Juan
he
Soto.
top, yeah, he top 10.
Shohei's 30.
Ronald Acuna,
Yeah, he up there for sure.
he was hurt this year,
Yeah.
but it's tricky because how do
Acuna's
you balance
26.
how good somebody is and their age, in fact, of the, like
You said
Juan Soto, I'm going to have
Machado is still good?
No.
Yeah, but he's getting old.
Tatis would be the first guy picked off.
Tatis?
Yeah, a lot
Off
of
the
people don't
Padres?
like him, though. He's kind of a punk.
It's
Bad
because
reputation.
he got popped taking.
Well, the steroids, too. But
he was
just has a
stabbing
bad
himself in the
reputation.
butt.
Is Soto has to be a top 5 pick in this.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Has to be.
Soto, Ohtani would be the only guy over 30 that would, like, as great as Judge is, I don't think he's in the top 5 because of his age. Maybe. He's got so much power. But
Bobby
Ohtani,
Bobby
Witt,
Skeens,
Skeens, Scooble,
Henderson.
and Soto
Soto?
might be your top 5. But I don't know. I think some people would still take Judge in the top 5. It depends what you think. I feel like the big guys.
Where would Lindor go?
That's a good question. Who would go first, Lindor or Jose?
How old is Lindor?
Younger.
How old is
Like
Lindor?
that much on?
Like
He's
27,
similar-
28?
No. He's in his 30s.
Is he?
When we met him when he was
He's 30.
30?
And
He
Jose's
turns
32.
31 next month.
Okay. So
A
he's
year-
a year
year
younger
younger.
than Jose. Year and change.
I have no concept of the time of these guys.
It's so
and
weird.
And
I
how old
remember
these players
meeting
are.
him.
If you asked me, I'd have said like Lindor's like 25, 26.
We
like,
met him,
without thinking
or it
about
might have been, there was one year when Dustin and I first started on the fan.
Dude, it was
They would
in-
send us to spring
it
training.
was
The
in
Guardians
the-
would pay, the Indians would pay for it.
This is like
Y'all went to
before
Arizona?
Before he
he
was in the majors.
before he was an everyday player. Yeah, of course I was.
Y'all
there.
went to
'cause I
Arizona?
remember. He comes in and he's like a kid, right?
Yeah.
But he had this forearm.
I know.
We both
He was
commented
so
on
impressive.
with like veins coming out, and I'm like,
Yeah,
dude,
yeah.
this guy's a freaking.
Guy hadn't
stud.
played in the majors yet.
They
kid.
sent the Indians sent y'all to Arizona.
So the
Twice.
Indians,
or 3 times.
3 times.
I
Dustin
didn't go-
couldn't go the
I went
last time
twice.
because his wife was about to give birth. But they sent us. So the radio station I think paid for our I don't know, part of it.
Some of it.
Whatever.
We got there.
But the Guardians paid for some of it, and then they stopped doing it. So we weren't good. The radio station wasn't picking up the whole bill. But we had
I didn't pick up much.
we had a lot of fun
We had a
in
great time.
Arizona.
Oh, we had a great time. I had a designated driver too.
Why don't UCSS?
That's true. I would be
send the-
doing all the driving.
Oh, because Jade goes out there. Doesn't Jade go to spring training?
No idea.
Not at that time because he was still at
No, I'm talking
ESPN.
about now.
Yes, he goes out now. But at the time, he was still at ESPN.
It's like the most chill thing ever too out there.
Oh my
Baseball
God.
training camp
It's
is
so
just
chill.
so chill.
And it would be nice for us because we'd be over
Oh yeah.
much earlier
Wish our
in the
show
day.
was like 2 hours or 3 hours. We had a lot more fun.
Oh, God.
Y'all hilarious.
Raul and Teresa's
Y'all
baby.
too.
Man, you can go anywhere in Arizona or California and get good Mexican food.
Yeah.
It doesn't even matter.
Doesn't matter.
They
Like
said-
here, there's
they
a couple
told
of
they
places.
told me the place across the street from the fan is really good.
1942.
that it?
Whatever it's called.
Right
Or the
across.
tacos and tequila place.
That's it.
Whatever it's called, because it's had a couple names.
Yeah.
Whatever it is now, it's really good.
That's what.
But the whatever it is now is pretty new, right?
Somewhat new.
Yeah. I never went there.
I've been there. So I've gone a couple times before. Cavs
It's
games.
been so many different things. It's a weird location.
It is. I would check it out. It's good.
On one of these post games.
You're going to a ball game. Pop in there.
Yeah. I mean, halftime. I'll be over there this week. Halftime. I'll get to the station and
You
say,
and
you know,
Jeff gonna go together?
No, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna grab it to go. I ain't gonna sit down.
See, you're like 10 years behind me on everything because we were 10 years younger than me.
Yeah.
Because I was doing that. The halftime post game. Oh my God, Gavin to be down there.
Maybe I could be like you one day.
No. I don't mean like that. I don't mean like I'm above you. I mean like I've been there.
Yeah.
Have you tried the Taco Bell breakfast yet?
No, because everywhere I go, they don't sell it. It's like I finally see that you know how to
everywhere you go, you live in Ohio.
No, well, I mean I travel Ohio. Anyways,
and
I travel every weekend.
The Taco Bell.
Most Taco Bells in Ohio have it.
But
no, they don't.
They don't.
No, they
Ever
don't.
since the pandemic,
Did I missing something?
some of these fast food restaurants have a hard time staffing.
Not a one by my house. I would have to get it before I get on the highway.
No overtime today. I got a meeting, so we got to run.
All right, we'll see you later. On the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show.